Testing 1, 2, 3. Hi everyone, can you guys hear me? 给各位 masker 听到我说话吗？谢谢。How's everyone doing? Alright, so I'll be doing some reaction videos today. Simple reaction videos from the film tourists. Yes, film tourists. Alright, everything's good.还能让人让你睡不着，还能为梦润燃烧，但亲爱的，这样浪漫的煎熬，不是想要就能要，别炫耀，别说你还好，没什么不好，你就怨日子枯燥。别说你烦，还好，别说你烦恼，恐怕就想到什么生存意义，想到没完没了。你给我听好，想哭就要笑，其实你知道，烦恼会解决烦恼。新的刚来到，那旧的却忘掉，渺小的空处只是你想要的生活情调。别让我知道，其实你在背着我们偷笑。还能让人让你睡不着，还能为梦人燃烧，但亲爱的，这样浪漫的煎熬，不是想要就能要，别炫耀。别说你还好，没什么不好，没什么不好，你就让日子枯燥。没什么烦恼，恐怕就想到什么生存意义，想到没完没了。你给我听好，想哭就要笑，其实你知道，烦恼会解决烦恼，新的刚来到。I drink some water first. Ready player one, how should I start? Sorry. That's refreshing. Alright, hello everyone, it's me, and today, ready, play one together. Let's go. Sounds good. Alright, let's start. How should I start this? Hi everyone! One more time. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, ready, play one together!
Fun fact, did you know that I started on YouTube in 2011, the same year that Ernest Cline wrote Ready Player One? And look at both of us now. We both have published books. Nope, sorry, I guess that's just him. But we both have millions of dollars in licensing and residuals. No, again, I guess that's definitely him and not me. But hey, we both have a blockbuster movie hitting theaters no time soon. That's again just Ernest Cline. Well, shoot, what have I been doing with all my time? Screw you, Ernest! No one likes an overachiever. Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Alright, MacPat, please don't be jealous and envy. Alright, keep calm. Thank you so much.
Where, come to think of it, I do have something in common with Ernest Cline. People only care about us because we created properties that ride off of people's nostalgia. Feels good, man. Feels good. Now, as one of the hardest core nerds out there, you'd think I'd be sweating through my tube socks at the idea of Ready Player One. Set in the year 2044, it's a futuristic sci-fi movie about a treasure hunt happening in the most advanced, massive multiplayer online game in history called Oasis, or ontologically anthropocentric sensory immersive simulation.
Alright, that's a very long name, but that's awesome.
It's got the good guy, Wade, fighting against the evil corporation to find the ultimate video game Easter egg that promises to give the player a massive fortune and control over the entire game. The premise is truly impressive, but there are a few bones I gotta pick with this thing. You see, in the movie, the reason why most of the people spend all their time in the Oasis is that most of the population lives in IRL poverty.
Oh, so it's like an escape from their true reality. It hurts.
Including our hero Wade. And hey, I'm all about the underdog coming out of nothing and fighting the powers that be. It's the story of every good YouTuber that I know. But the world of Ready Player One gets so ridiculous sometimes that if you actually look at it using real sci instead of just sci-fi, our buddy Wade literally wouldn't survive the opening credits. And no, I'm not talking about some super advanced technology where someone's getting zapped with fiber optic cables or getting their memory wiped by their own haptic suit. So,
what are you trying to say? He can't survive on what basis? Huh.
Let's face it, by 2044, technology will be so advanced that there's really no way to predict the state of video games or personal technology. I can only sit here and salivate thinking at how great things will be and start worshipping my Google overlords now. No, I'm talking way more basic than that. The biggest threat in this movie isn't technology or evil corporations or even really bad eye strain. It is the engineering of everyone's home. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, in an episode that I've dedicated to a movie about super futuristic video games,
Architecture? Seriously?
I am focused on the civil engineering. And isn't that why you all come here in the first place? Suck on that, Ernest Cline! You may have millions of people around the world excited about your nostalgia trip of a movie. I'm getting millions of people excited about basic architecture. Boom! Who's the truly successful one now? Oh, and fair warning, after this episode, you'll probably never want to visit the Empire State Building ever again. In Ready Player...
Okay, so don't visit the Empire State Building because of architecture reasons? Why?
One, Wade lives in the stacks, monstrous scrap piles of low-income housing that are basically like upright piles of single-wide trailer homes. Now, according to the book, they can be up to 20 levels high, twice as tall as the smallest skyscrapers. And in the movie, we can see the basic structure of these things. Single trailers stuck all over the place on what the book describes as modular scaffolds, made so they can just keep stacking these things as high as they need to go, which is code for, yeah, we're not gonna be thinking about this ahead of time. As more people move into the area, more trailers just get added to the top. But this creates a major support problem that anyone with a little engineering know-how can immediately see. It's not something that you really have to think about all that often, but turns out that there are some pretty strong reasons why you don't just add on to skyscrapers after they're finished. Your trailer stack doesn't become more efficient, it just becomes a really deadly game of Jenga. Let me explain. Starting at the bottom, the stacks are gonna have a major problem with the foundation. The bigger and heavier any structure is, the stronger the foundation you need.
You need a strong foundational bedrock to anchor the entire building itself. The entire structure.
The foundation for a one-story house might have a depth of only 1 meter, but skyscrapers have foundations that go down 50 meters or more, depending on the soil underneath it. To get a solid base, you sometimes have to go down hundreds of feet to avoid the building sinking into soft spots later on. The Petronas Twin Towers in Kuala Lumpur has the deepest foundation of any skyscraper in the world, ranging from 200 to 374 feet in different places along its base because it's built on soft rock. Why does the building sink? Because of something in civil engineering called compression force.
Alright, so there's something called compression force. So it's about drive, it's about power. It's about drive, it's about power. We stay hungry, devour. Put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's ours.
Which is the force exerted by the top layers of a building onto the bottom layers. I mean, it totally makes sense. Each layer of a building has to hold up all the layers that get stacked up on top of it. That means that your bottom layers are going to have to be the strongest and most stable since they're the ones holding the most weight. Applying this to the stacks in the movie, already you can start to see the issue with this modular approach. Real buildings calculate how much weight they're going to have to support in advance and build their foundations accordingly. A modular building like the stacks isn't able to do that. Every layer that you add on causes the scaffolds and all the mobile homes on lower levels to compress a little bit more, meaning that without a foundation underneath, eventually these stacks are gonna turn into sinks, or just collapse inwardly onto themselves. Hate to be the guy on the bottom. I mean, you could argue that they're overbuilding those bottom layers on the chance that you have to add more layers onto the top later, but then you're just wasting a lot of money and resources, which, have you seen these things? The whole point of the stacks is to save on money and resources. Another alternative is that, yes, the stacks might not have foundations, but you don't have to build deep if you build wide. Think of the pyramids, or I should say the pyramids after they figured out that they needed to pay attention to things like compression force. You want to see what version 1.0 of the pyramids looked like? Well, here's the bent pyramid. This is a weird one, right? Not a whole lot of historical fictions focused on the beauty of the bent pyramid. Now, I've been to Cairo and seen this thing, which is just as bizarre looking in person. There are a few theories on why this pyramid is the derpy outcast of the Egyptian landscape, but when you discount the crazy theories like aliens, you're left with the exact problem we're talking about here in Ready Player One. In the case of the bent pyramid, the bottom layers are made of limestone, which is a relatively soft stone that expands and contracts with moisture. When the early Egyptians started building this literal prototype of what pyramids would become, the slope on the sides was too steep. It created too much compressive force on the lower levels as the structure got higher, causing the limestone to crush down. The builders responded by changing their angles midway up the pyramid to lessen the pressure on the structure, together to avoid those stones compressing and warping over time. So a wide and flat foundation is an option, but it can only happen in places where you're not having to account for weather. The only places that you find this sort of construction today is in warmer weather climates like California and Arizona. In colder climates that hit freezing temperatures every winter, the ground is gonna freeze and thaw, expand and contract, which means it's gonna crack any shallow foundations made of anything like concrete. And at this point, it seems worth mentioning that Ready Player One takes place in Columbus, Ohio, which gets 22 inches of snow per year and makes this kind of foundation a big ol' no-no.
Ooh, that's super unstable, super improbable. That's very...
But if this whole my trailer stack is sinking into the frozen Ohio ground isn't enough, we've actually got bigger problems to attend to here. The wind. In addition to the vertical force of gravity, skyscrapers also have to deal with the horizontal force of wind, and that means so do our friends hanging out in the stacks. Wind dampening systems are actually incredibly high-tech these days. It's not inexpensive engineering either, if you're looking to pay for your stacks with, well, fewer stacks. For example, the Citicorp Center in New York City uses what's called a tuned mass damper to counteract the force of wind on the skyscraper. These types of systems electronically sense shifting pressure in the building due to wind. The damper then uses hydraulics to quickly push a 400-ton concrete slab weight back and forth across the top of the building
change the CG of the entire structure
to shift the building's center of gravity from side to side, thus counteracting the force of the wind. So yeah, if you've ever visited one of those world's tallest buildings, just know that there's probably a sliding slab of concrete floating above your head the size of a meteor. No pressure or anything, but sometimes even those sorts of high-tech systems aren't enough, especially when you're dealing with the same issues that Ready Player One is dealing with, namely cost. Let's look again at the Citicorp Center in New York. I picked this one on purpose because when it was built, it was actually built with one of the most dangerous design flaws in history.
What? One of the most dangerous design flaws in history. That is saying a lot.
Apologies to anyone who's working there right now and using their lunch break to watch this video. To save money, the building wasn't initially constructed using the maximum number of reinforced joints possible, and they weren't making it out of the highest possible quality of steel, going back to the idea that better materials have higher compression forces. It was discovered that if the wind blew on the building at a diagonal, any hurricane force winds of 74 miles per hour hitting New York could bring the entire building down, crashing it down onto all the other buildings in the area. Those sorts of winds hit New York about once every 50 years, so obviously a bit of a massive problem. And so to save face, the architect worked in secret with Citigroup to have all the bolts in the building reinforced at night, with crews only working after hours, and they managed to fix it right before hurricane season started. The story didn't surface to the public for over 20 years. So yeah, this is not just a movie problem. There have been some pretty high-profile engineering oopsie moments that could have come close to costing hundreds of thousands of lives around the world, with the powers that be sometimes working behind the scenes to cover that sort of stuff up. Now,
it's really this stuff behind the scenes, under table stuff that is really dangerous sometimes if it's mishandled.
Of course, the stacks in Ready Player One have no sophisticated computer systems counteracting the effects of wind like this. All of their sophisticated tech is dedicated to entertaining the masses. But no matter how immersive that virtual reality simulation is, it's gonna be pretty hard to ignore the fact that your stack comes crashing down with the first lake effect snowstorm of the year. And trust me, Ohio gets plenty of lake effect snowstorms. There's a reason I live in California now. It is cold in them there cornfields. But on top of the lack of foundation and them just not being reinforced in the slightest, the stacks are actually facing yet another blow when it comes to wind problems because of how narrow they are. Comparing them to a normal apartment building, the skinniest apartment building in New York City has an area of 3,300 square feet, which is more than 5 times the area of a 600 square foot trailer home. Now, at 22 levels high, Wade's home is taller than some skyscrapers, yet it's far thinner than even the thinnest high-rises. What does that mean? Well, have you ever tried to stack a single column of Legos up on their own? You notice anything when you did? Maybe that they fall over really darn easily. When trying to figure out whether something is easy to tip over, spoiler alert, the stacks are super easy to tip over. All you need to do is find their center of gravity. Looking just at Wade's stack, which is 22 trailer homes high, if we assume a best case scenario with uniform construction, that would put the center of gravity between the 11th and 12th levels.
Alright, think about it. The best case scenario, which isn't normally the case, is with newly formed constructions, which, think about it, is under the situation of poverty and cheap. So it's probably not the best concern that they have.
Running the numbers, if this stack tilts just 4.7 degrees, its center of gravity will no longer be located over its base, leading the entire thing to tumble over. A sway of 4.7 degrees could happen with gusts of wind at about 40 miles per hour. Maybe even less if you remember that the building also has no support systems and no foundation. Now, considering Ohio's average wind speed sits around 18 miles per hour, the stacks are going to be in a perpetual state of leaning. It's also worth mentioning that since 1950, more than 1,000 tornadoes have touched down in Ohio. Ohio is no stranger to high-speed winds sweeping down the plains. So basically, long story short, anyone breathing on the stacks too hard means it's game over for Wade. But okay, the stacks are violating some of the basic principles of civil engineering, and they're absurdly unsafe. So what, I hear you saying? Of course they're unsafe. This is a dystopia. They don't exactly have safety in mind when they're building these low-income slums. Wade even describes the domino-like effect when a stack collapses, and in the trailer we actually see a stack completely obliterated by what seems like a relatively small explosion. These buildings weren't designed to be strong or protect lives, they were designed to be cheap. So stop being nitpicky of Ernest Cline, Mad Pat, you're just jealous that another nerd is more popular than you. But here's the biggest problem with the stacks, you see. They're not cheap either. And this is where we encounter the single biggest problem with the stacks. They're designed, for one thing, to cut costs on dense urban housing, and they even suck at that. In fact, they're way more expensive to produce than good old-fashioned concrete slumlord housing.
What? Wait, I didn't know about that. Interesting, but what? Seriously?
Concrete is seriously cheap. It is literally made out of sand, something that it's safe to say that we won't be running out of in the next 25 years. Concrete housing is currently the primary component in urban construction where there's a massive need for more urban homes. The national average cost of building an apartment building in the US is currently around $75 per square foot, or about $45,000 for 600 square feet, the same size as Wade's single-wide trailer. But that's using mid to even high-quality materials. What we're looking for in a Ready Player One scenario are known as Class 6 building materials in the US, which consist of reinforced concrete and wood framing, but still has all the major appliances and safety features that you need.
Oh, this is the Monopoly cards. I remember. This is the Monopoly cards. Moreover, I'm really glad that MatPat is doing a film theory episode about architecture, so that engineering students or students that actually want to learn more about such things can actually improve about it while being entertained by such educational videos. Entertainment! Yeah!
These buildings are as low as $57.39 per square foot, or $34,434 for our 600 square foot home. By contrast, a new single-wide mobile home costs about $40,000, and that jumps up to $75,000 if you're talking about a double-wide. And that is just the trailer. That's not also the cost of getting it all the way to the top of the nearest stack, building extra scaffolding around it, or extending the wires and cables into the air so that the residents can get their daily dose of oasis, or the costs of rebuilding these things when catastrophic failures occur. Remember, Wade in the book specifically mentions multiple instances of domino collapses. And if you're still on the fence about it, remember that building codes and inspections are all factored into the current cost of apartment buildings in the US. So if they're willing to just skip that step in Ready Player One, which it seems like they're gonna have no problem doing, you can look at seriously slashing prices on whatever housing you're using in the movie. Oh, and in the process, by building just normal apartment buildings, they would be saving hundreds of lives in the process, but whatever, it's not like those cost anything. So when you—
Oh my gosh! Oh, burn! It's just saying that people with money,
you go out and see Ready Player One, appreciate the cool technology, dream of the futuristic MMORPGs, but shake your head knowing that the most unbelievable and unbelievably deadly part of this fictional reality is literally the house it takes place in.
So fun fact, he mentions MMORPG, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. Psst.
But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Cameo the movie. I like it. MatPat is over there chilling with the oasis. That's so cute and funny. So adorable. Aww. Ooh. besides that, thank you so much for watching this video together with me. I hope that you find this video very interesting and educational. Quite fun to learn something about engineering and architecture in a video game, also in a film theory episode, right? So yeah, sincerest gratitude and appreciation for all of your support and continuous attention towards my videos. Thank you so much. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in the next video. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, do please remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Alright, that's one video down. That's good, one video down. This is Cost of Disney for Pinocchio. Huh, interesting.
Things about Pinocchio's nose because it's quite.
Sorry. Oh my gosh, yes. Hi KV Profits back again, huh? Still waiting for Silver Gunner's reactions. Hi. Wait, are you choosing your own videos or you're watching every videos because the title of your live stream are weird? ARG is the best ARG ever. I really think you will enjoy the Silver Gunner channel. Do you know if there's a delay, because I know live streams do that sometimes. And I use ad blocks. Hope you don't mind. No worries. Because I'm currently, you need 1,000 subscribers, 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 hours of 4,000 hours of video attention spans. 4 hours, 4,000 hours of your videos being watched. No guidelines, not two steps verifications, and what was the no guidelines something, no offense, like something like that, no strikes, something like that. So this 4, from what I know, this 4 used to be 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So yeah, you need to have this 4. Currently, for my Humdrum Singaporeans react the channel, right? Humdrum Singaporeans, I've reached what, 23,000 I think, 23,000 hours of watch time, 23,000 hours of watch time, around there. I recently received the 20,000 hours watch times achievement, but I only have 700 plus subscribers, so yeah, it hurts, but well, yeah. So no worries. Even if there's ad blocks, right, I will not be receiving any income from it. Yeah, need to be 1,000 subscribers. Still got a long way to go. Alright, hi everyone, it's me, and today, Disney secrets you don't know about Pinocchio. Okay, I still want answer from other things that I said in the chat. Oh yeah, the silver gunner, that one. Sure. I will do a video after I finish the game theorists, the film theorists, and food theorists until I reach the latest videos. As I mentioned before, probably take around the month of July. Probably take until the month of July, if my calculations are correct. Oh, fun fact, I have a dream last night. It's not last night. Yeah, at night. I have a dream. The dream is I dream of an entire sequence of Spider-Man. Yeah. You know the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home? I thought it's like, okay, I originally thought that there are only 3 Spider-Mans. Then I thought, wait, 4 Spider-Mans, 5 Spider-Mans, 6 Spider-Mans, and just stack on, which I think is improbable right now. Right now that I think about it, because of the studio issues. Because think about it, they have to pay a lot of money to have so many iconic Spider-Mans to be part of Spider-Mans. In my dream, I've dreamed of 9 different Spider-Mans. You know? Yeah. So not that probable. And for Silver Gunner's channel, I'll probably look at it in the month of July, after I finish with the game theorists, with the film theorists, and the food theorists. Right now I'm still in the halfway point of the film theorists, so yeah, hopefully you don't mind, and yeah, I'll try my best to do finish the film theorists as fast as possible. It will probably be in the month of July, yeah. I'm sorry. Also, I want to make sure if there's a delay, because I don't like delays when there's live. I think there's delay. I genuinely think there's delay. First of all, my computer is not the best, so with the RAM size, it's not strong. Okay, first of all, think about it. Most people is like 16 GB RAM, 32 GB RAM, 64 GB RAM, single digit RAM. Yeah, just the memory alone is gonna affect a lot. Next, processor. People is like the latest RAM. It's like mine, no. 3000 series. Not that good. But I'll try my best. But thank you so much for being so supportive. Thank you. Really, your positivity is really awesome. Thank you so much. And let's start with the video. Let's go. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, Disney secrets you don't know about Pinocchio. Let's start. One more time. Ah gosh, one more time. Okay, okay, when I type these comments, you shall see it and we'll know. Yeah. I think, yeah, I read it. There might be a delay. Maybe like there's a 30 second delay. I'm not too sure. Probably, I guess. So anyways, let's start. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, Disney secrets you don't know about Pinocchio. Let's go.
Okay, so everyone always thinks about Pinocchio's nose because it's quite literally right there in your face. But have you ever considered this? In order to keep standing, Pinocchio would need to bend backwards significantly to balance out the added weight of that branch, and eventually even the bird's nest at the end. But look, Pinocchio isn't leaning back at all to compensate, which means that he must have some kind of counterbalance growing in his, oh my.
I like big butts and I cannot lie.
Okay.
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory, the show that has...
Hello, Internet. Welcome to Film Theory. Thank you so much. Hi. Please keep this family friendly and wholesome. So yeah.
corporate strings to hold us down, which is why we get to talk about things like child slavery in Disney films. That's right, today we're going all the way back to that Disney classic about the exploitation of child laborers, Pinocchio. Now, as a kid, this movie just really provided me with years worth of nightmare fuel. I mean, Monstro's mouth, anyone? Children turning into literal work mules? It's terrifying. But looking back on it now, Pinocchio actually raises a lot of questions. Like, did people really just throw money during marionette shows like some kind of puppet strip club? If people who go to Pleasure Island become jackasses, are the other animals that we see throughout the movie also people? Or are there just animals who actually do walk around as living creatures? What about this fox? He's awfully human. What about Jiminy Cricket? We haven't even gotten into the logistics of literally lighting a fire inside a whale. Sadly though, all these questions are gonna have to wait for another day because today we are tackling everyone's favorite subject, business. Specifically the business of Pleasure Island.
So business, we are talking about a lot of money.
Bizarro 1940s bad boys utopia.
Look at yourself. Smoking. Playing pool.
Today's episode is all about the incredibly scary reality that Pleasure Island, as we see it in the movie Pinocchio, could have actually existed in real life. I like to call this episode How to Succeed in Child Slavery Without Really Trying. But first, a recap, because I can't assume that you guys have seen this. Pinocchio is really old at this point.
Alright, case and points, please do remember that slavery, no. Child slavery, no. Alright?
I mean, to kids nowadays, Tangled is probably like the furthest back they go and call it a Disney classic. Oh boy! Anyway, this guy named Geppetto is a clockmaker in a vaguely European Disney-esque country around the turn of the century, who makes a marionette named Pinocchio and then wishes for him to become a real boy.
I wish that my little Pinocchio might be a real boy.
The blue fairy comes down and grants his wish, but in a pure dick move, only grants the wish halfway, because apparently fairies can just do that for the lulz.
I've given you life because tonight, Geppetto wished for a real boy.
Am I a real boy?
No, Pinocchio.
So instead of Pinocchio
I grant you a wish, but halfway.
becoming a real boy, he instead becomes a living puppet monster. Geppetto wakes up, sees that his marionette has come to life, and like anyone would do in this situation, goes back to sleep. The next morning, though, he then shoves Pinocchio out the door saying, "Hey, you've existed for 12 hours now, surely you can figure out school, right?" On the way, Pinocchio meets two foxy swindlers, Honest John Foulfellow and Gideon, who proceed to swindle Pinocchio several times into doing multiple stupid things, like becoming an actor.
Go ahead. Make a fool of yourself.
Until finally leaving with them to Pleasure Island along with a horde of kidnapped children. Once Pinocchio and the small army of young boys arrive at Pleasure Island, they drink, smoke, trash a mansion, and destroy all the rides. So basically, they become the 1940s equivalent of Team 10. Every day, bro. But every good vacation has to come to an end. And the boys start to regret all that indulgence when they start turning into literal donkeys.
What's he think I look like? A jackass?
It's revealed that the big scheme behind the entirety of Pleasure Island is to transform boys into donkeys, who are then sold off to work in salt mines while the owners of Pleasure Island make themselves a hefty little profit. Or is there actually a profit to be had here at all? This whole thing sounds so ridiculous and far-fetched. Is there any chance that kidnapping kids, transforming them into donkeys, and then selling them off to the highest bidder is actually a profitable business venture?
I mean, first of all, it's a bad business because it's just bad. Please treat all human beings properly, alright? Please treat all human beings appropriately, especially when they're children. Children are the future of our species, of humanity, alright?
Look at this, the kids destroy the amusement park. So should the owners of Pleasure Island just scrap their half-assed plans, or I guess in this case, fully-assed plans, and just sell off the park to become yet another Six Flags? No. No, they shouldn't. Child kidnapping and donkey sales are actually surprisingly profitable, and I'm about to show you how. Aren't Disney episodes fun? So the first question is, how much is a donkey actually worth? Going by EquineNow.com's prices, it seems like most jackasses today sell between $500 and $2,000 each. Unless, of course, you're an MTV-branded jackass, in which case you're worth $2.5 million. Since our child jackasses are certainly more intelligent than most, we'll use the $2,000 per jackass gas price range.
You are a great donkey. You are like top donkey.
Since Pinocchio happened sometime around the late 1800s or early 1900s, as indicated by the Ferris wheel first introduced in 1893, we're gonna adjust for inflation and estimate that each donkey is selling for about $76 in Pinocchio's time. And just how many of these donkeys is the coachman able to sell off in a batch? Well, to answer that, we first need to know how many little boys he's gotten himself a hold of. The best way to estimate the total donkey load isn't actually to count the boys at Pleasure Island, but rather it's to look at how they all got there. This Mississippi-style steamboat that transports all the boys to the island.
So you're talking about maximum capacity for the structure itself. Okay.
Also tells us how many victims we're going to be looking at. Passenger riverboats of this size with 3 decks have an absolute max capacity of 2,155 people. So given the coachman's unscrupulous morals and lax safety records, I mean, just look at the kids falling between Ferris wheel cars. We can assume that he's stuffing the maximum number of kids onto this thing as possible, especially since children are so much smaller than adults and these boys aren't carrying any luggage. So we're going to subtract a standard 50 people to account for the boat crew of a steamer that large, which leaves us with room for a whopping 2,105 young boys. It's truly a pretty horrifying level of evil that's going on here in Pleasure Island. That's not even accounting for all the rampant racism and underage smoking. So multiplying everything out, we have 2,104 donkeys, we minus 1 because Pinocchio escapes, $76 each, gives us $159,904, which might not seem like all that much, but remember, this is money way back at the turn of the century. Accounting for inflation, the
Late 1800s, early 1900s. Come on, man. What are you doing, humanity? Why are you being so evil towards each other? Come on.
coachman is looking to net a whopping $4,208,000. That's $4 million of 2018 dollars. So things are looking pretty good for the old coachman here, right? But the one thing that every businessman will tell you is that before you go walking off with your profits, you need to start calculating your overhead. And running Pleasure Island isn't a simple operation, so we need to factor in the costs of 2,000 boys drinking themselves under the table while destroying an entire amusement park. As I pointed out earlier, in just one night, a boatload of boys managed to level Pleasure Island into a desolate hellscape. It's like the world of Fallout. What's worse than a nuclear apocalypse? Oh, just 2,000 young, rambunctious boys looking to scrap, smoke, and drink. So
come on, they need to be disciplined, alright? They need to be scolded, they need to be punished, when they need discipline when they did wrong. Right? When you do something wrong, you need to be disciplined. However, the saying called 上梁不正下梁歪. When the top is wrong, it will trigger down and cause the bottom to be corrupted as well. Which, as adults, as the people that is in charge, you have to be correct, you have to be righteous, you have to do the right thing, and not be a bad role model. Be a good role model, be a good example for the next generations.
how much is it costing the coachman to rebuild an entire amusement park every time they bring one of these boatloads over? Well, initially I calculated out every little piece of wood and every glass pane broken in here, but what I found out was that most of the repairs were actually just small items that ultimately didn't make that big of a difference on the bottom line. At most, we were looking at about $1,000 on tobacco, which translates to about 38 old-timey dollars, and about 200 inflation-adjusted dollars to restock the destroyed mansion with more old furniture for the boys to tear apart. Both of those numbers not nearly enough to hit the coachman's bottom line. The bigger ticket items, though, is where they get ya, namely the rides. If we're running this business, we're basically gonna need to replace the Ferris wheel cars and the entirety of the carousel, which looks like the central axis has actually been bent down the middle. This all begs a completely separate question. What kind of hell beasts are these children? I mean, what would enable them to even be able to try bending a carousel in half? And how many children did it take to accomplish that sort of thing?
If that's the case, it's not just the children's fault, it's not just the adults' fault, it's just generally your entire system of growing up is at fault. You need to change your entire system, structurally speaking, how to govern your entire family. 国有国法，家有家规。If the laws and regulations, if the rules and regulations are incorrect and which thus cause such things, change it, right?
Or was it just one super kid? Maybe some solid steel marionette who's also on his way to becoming a real boy too? Anyway, these are the expensive things to replace, but when you actually run the numbers, they don't wind up being all that expensive. Ferris wheels are surprisingly cheap, which is honestly kind of scary to think about as you dangle 40 feet in the air on one. Smaller, used Ferris wheels cost as little as $15,000. Back in 2008, the Santa Monica Ferris wheel was put on sale on eBay for a mere $50,000. And it's worth noting that Ferris wheel is both large and famous, which is jacking up the cost. So we're gonna assume that the coachman isn't feeling too spendy here, and we'll go with that $15,000 estimate, or 572 old-timey adjusted dollars. Still nothing that's even close to making a dent into his total profits. Now, the carousel's gonna run you a bit higher. The cheapest option is from the Carousel Works for about $320,000, or $12,000 in inflation-adjusted costs. Now, they wouldn't have to buy a whole new carousel every time so long as the turntable still worked, but from what I can tell, in carousel terms, that thing is totaled, which means that the coachman is gonna be forking out $12,000 for a new merry-go-round every time he does one of these little trips. So between the two major rides that need to be replaced with every new batch of kids, plus all the smaller incidentals I mentioned, the coachman is looking at about $13,000 worth of operating costs, which still leaves him with $146,904, or $4 million of 2018 money. But the biggest cost here is actually still coming: kidnapping the boys in the first place. The coachman has to pay low-life scum like Honest John with a big ol' sack of loot that we actually get to see. How big is it? This sack of loot is so big that it would be totally devastating to carry. I ran calculations on the amount of gold this thing holds by comparing it to the size and capacity of a standard German beer stein, which we see it lined up against in this shot. It comes out to about 1,900 cubic inches of gold, which converts to a whopping 1,211 troy ounces, or 83 pounds of gold. Don't you be forgetting about leg day, coachman. Now, this has got to be the amount of gold traded to fill the entire boat, and this, by far, is the coachman's largest expense per night, coming in at $1,631,785.93 as of writing this script. That converts to $63,179 in Pinocchio's terms. Aw, poor coachman, look at all those human trafficking profits just melting away. Now our total earnings per boatload of boys has been sliced in half, coming to about $83,725 every time, or a bit over $2 million. Now, honestly, that wouldn't be too bad of a profit for kidnapping 2,000 children and selling them off as donkeys. But
once again, this is a bad business. Please treat one another. We are all humans. Please treat one another with proper decency, with appropriate and proper respect. Thank you so much.
We're still neglecting one huge consideration here. This whole time we've just been assuming that Pleasure Island was just there. But the park had to be built in the first place, and building the park is going to be a huge investment for any child kidnappers to be. So let's look at the big ticket items here. First, there's the cost of that swell roller coaster. Even small steel cookie cutter roller coasters cost about $5 million up front to build, or about $190,000 in Pinocchio's time. That cost alone is more than one night could possibly earn at Pleasure Island. So we know that this isn't the coachman's first time at the rodeo. He is truly talking from experience when he says,
They never come back as boys.
in order to make this business anywhere close to profitable, he's gonna need more than one boatload of boys. Now add to that the cost of actually building the structures that we see on the park grounds, including walls, a giant gate, a mansion, a tower, a pool hall, slides, and suddenly the costs start growing really fast. Luckily, Pleasure Island is much smaller than most amusement parks, having only a few rides and only intending to host about 2,000 guests at a time. So we'll have to do some scaled estimates based on costs of other similarly sized parks. Luckily, we can use the recent expansion of Universal's Diagon Alley for Harry Potter Land, a project that cost a reported $400 million to make. Now, that $400 million does include $100 million for the Escape from Gringotts ride, so we'll have to knock that one off, but that still leaves us with $300 million for one small section of a theme park.
Wow, literally multi-million dollars.
Even in Pinocchio's time, that is a whopping $11.4 million. Childs. If Pleasure Island were even only the size of just that one small section of a park, there would still be a huge amount of upfront costs in creating this business, one that would take the coachmen years to recoup. So this whole thing seems busted then, right? With an upfront cost of $11.5 million between the roller coaster, the park, the other rides, the employees, $76,210 in costs every time the coachman brings in another batch and they completely trash the place, he would need to bring in 139 boatloads of small boys to Pleasure Island before he would even start to turn a profit. That translates to a whopping 292,000 children.
More than 250,000.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
That's gotta be impossible, right? No, it's not. The coachman's main source of children during this time would have been orphans. France kept remarkable records of child abandonment in the 19th century, but they were basically the only country who did, so we'll have to work off of their numbers. France recorded about 164,000 abandoned children annually in the
Annually. Every single year. Why?
mid-1800s. And that's just one of many European nations the coachman and his goons could have been traveling. If Italy and Spain had even half of those numbers, the coachman could have shockingly made his money back in less than a year from only the abandoned children of 3 European countries. Going into year 2, it's actually conceivable that he could have been running the most profitable enterprise in all of Europe, while most other countries would have had no idea because they weren't even keeping records of orphans. And why? How is he able to do this? Why are there so many parentless children walking around? Because of all the wars happening in Europe during this era. Most of these orphans were children whose parents had died in the war. Those are the children that we see the coachman snatching up and reselling.
Back then when gunpowder, firearms, like advanced firearms was more prevalent, and people say that since I got this, I can, instead of training for years, decades on how to manage a sword, the techniques, the skills for a spear, right, the shield, I can just boom, so one pass away, I won. This gives them an illusion of, I'm stronger than you, even though my army is smaller than you. This sort of illusions cause a lot of human casualty. Why?
In an unbelievable twist, the supply of abandoned children during this time period in this part of the world was so incredibly high that the coachman could have actually pulled off kidnapping and reselling 292,000 children, making it one of the most heinous and cold-blooded acts in history. This is the truly horrifying levels of evil that we see at play in Pinocchio, and worst of all, the coachman totally gets away with it in the movie. Old school Disney is pretty hardcore, but Pinocchio is especially brutal because in this case, we never see any kind of justice served to any of the villains in this film. In our quote-unquote good ending, the only one we see getting rescued is Pinocchio. He's the only one. All of the other 2,000 children that we see enter Pleasure Island, that we actually watch get transformed into donkeys, all of them don't escape, all of them don't have a blue fairy protecting them, all of them get sold off into the salt mines to the highest bidder, and the coachman and Honest John and Gideon are all left to run their business for another day. Just think about that next time you hear Jiminy Cricket talking about wishing upon a star. I know about 300,000 kids who'd like another crack at their wish. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And apropos to nothing, I think everyone deserves a chance to watch the first 5 seconds of Pinocchio in outer space.
The adventure you're about to see is based on a true portrayal of outer space.
That looks like an asteroid below us, but where's that exhaust coming from? It isn't an asteroid. It's Astro!
Wow. Wow, your creativity, your imagination must be off the chart, man. Off the roof if you can think of something like that. Well, it's quite sad, I'm really glad that MadPat did episodes about such things, such historical facts. Even though it's sad, it's good that we actually learn from our past, learn from our humanity past. What you have done, what our ancestors have done, we do not make the same mistakes again. Alright? And yeah, I'm just thankful that MadPat mentioned this in one of his theory videos, so that we can be educated and we can learn from it. Be taught that this sort of heinous, cold-blooded, evil actions was done in our human history, your human history, our human history, so that we can learn from it and not repeat the same mistakes again. Well, once again, I'm thankful for it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to us. Don't forget to follow my channel, and I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you all in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much. Once again, please remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Sorry. Also, I use I saw okay. When you tell me, so there's no delay. I think there's delay. Alright. Let's check if there's delay with a simple clap. That's why they always see the clap, right? Because clap is the loud. It's very loud, but it's always very instant. So let's go. I think it's because my computer is not the best. It's not the best. Right now my computer is running the live streaming applications and photos. These two. If I was to open a third one, it will start to lag even more. Increase like this. So I'm gonna check first. Audio check. Audio check. 1, 2, 3. One, two, three. Okay. Hopefully can. I cannot be so. Hi everyone!
Pinocchio, and worst of all, Pinocchio. Them don't business their wish.
We're about to see.
Wow. Wow, your creativity, your imagination must be off the chart, man. Off the roof if you can think of something like that. Well, it's quite sad, you know. I'm really glad that MapPad did episodes about such things, such historical facts. Even though it's sad, it's good that we actually learn from our past, learn from our humanity past. What you have done, what our ancestors have done, we do not make the same mistakes again. Alright? And yeah, yes. So what I'm saying is, if I was to do just the live streaming portion, right? Just the live streaming part, right? There will not be any lag. But if I also open photos, there will be a small lag involved. Gosh, I really need a better computer. I'm getting a part-time job.
Did you know that My Hero? Did you know? Did you know that My Hero
Hey, oh my gosh, I really need a part-time job. I need to buy a new computer for me to live stream. I really need. This my CPU is not the best. My RAM is not the best. Gosh, it really hurts to see something like this happens. So let's go. Oh, this is good. Thank you so much, KV Profits. Thank you so much for being so positive and helpful. Thank you. Do you know the channel That Feels? I think I heard of it before, but I just wondering. I think I heard it before. Maybe I'll take a look again. Maybe. Alright, let's start. Silver Gunner reactions will hopefully be in July, right? Yeah, hopefully in July. Hopefully lah. If my calculations are correct, hopefully it will be in July. Because I really feel bad that you've been asking me for so many times, and I have to drag on so and so forth. Feel really bad. So anyways, let's start. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, anime with Theorists. Sorry, one more time. Shing. Hi everyone, it's me, and today, anime Theories about My Hero Academia. Let's go!
Did you know that My Hero Academia swept the Crunchyroll Anime Awards last year? Out of 17 categories, it was nominated in 8 and it won 7. It's like the La La Land of anime. Except, you know, it's actually good, and it's not a poorly written, poorly composed, poorly sung musical with tired themes that pander to the egoism of Hollywood. Whew, sorry, I really let myself get carried away there.
Oh, the egoism of Hollywood.
Let's talk about anime.
Let's talk about anime. Let's go.
Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello.
The show that's dedicated to ruining your favorite superheroes one by one. So far, we've killed off Luke Cage, Deadpool, Spider-Man, Magneto, and Wolverine. We've taken away Doctor Strange's magic. We've wrecked Thor's self-esteem. We've exposed Batman and Wonder Woman for the failures that they are. We've proved that Ant-Man and Superman would destroy the world. We've pitted the Incredibles against each other. And just last month, I showed you how Black Panther's biggest weakness was the law of supply and demand. But today, instead of just looking at more Marvel and DC superheroes, we're instead turning our eyes eastward to tackle the insanely popular anime My Hero Academia.
Boku no Hero Academia!
Where superheroes aren't masked vigilantes with secret identities, but instead government-sanctioned professionals who work full-time saving lives while employed by various hero agencies.
With proper regulations and registration.
And it's not just the heroes who have the superpowers here. 80% of the population has some sort of unique power called a quirk.
Reports of people with superpowers popped up across the globe. For long, the supernatural became the totally normal.
Quirks range from...
Yes, and think about it. Humans are very weird if you think about it. When one person stand out, you think that, oh my god, this person is it's not normal, it's abnormal, right? He's special. But when the majority of the populations have the quirks, have the ability, those that point fingers at those people that point fingers at those that have will change. Now, if you do not have a quirk, if you do not have a special ability, you are considered abnormal.
Mostly useless physical deformities to insane supernatural abilities like converting body fat into synthetic matter, sweating nitroglycerin, shooting laser beams out of your belly button, or tape out of your elbows. No joke, those are both real superpowers in the series. Overall, there are any number of interesting quirks to explore throughout the series, but
my favorite is the invisible girl. She's so cute and adorable, even though we can't see her.
Today, I want to look a bit closer at the show's most important hero, All Might, the world's symbol of peace and #1 most powerful superhero. Now, being so highly ranked would lead you to assume that All Might was born with the most amazing quirk of all time, but that actually couldn't be further from the truth. His quirk, named One for All, was actually given to him.
Yes, and then what is the reverse of one for all? all for one, which is actually a quirk actually.
In a world where practically everyone is born with a superpower, All Might just wasn't. Before being given the one-for-all power, he had no quirk.
I was quirkless too as a kid.
In fact, All Might was the 8th person to receive the one-for-all trait, and the story of My Hero Academia is all about him passing it on to its 9th user, the series protagonist Deku, another person born without a quirk just like All Might himself.
I deem you worthy of my power. My quirk is yours to inherit.
This is all well and good, the characters are all super lovable, the story is super compelling, except for one thing. It's my theory that All Might was born with a quirk. If you look at the series lore and the way the one-for-all quirk behaves, All Might possesses a latent quirk beyond just one-for-all that maybe even he was never aware of. And
alright, let's just state the facts. The lore, the storytelling of this entire anime is just amazingly passionate. You know, after watching the episodes, right, it really gets my burning spirit just, I want to watch more. Yeah! Alright.
I'm about to lay down that evidence for you. After all, as they say on the show,
Meddling when you don't need to is the essence of being a hero.
that must mean I'm a hero then, right? Maybe my quirk is the incredible ability to jump to conclusions. To begin, we need to look a bit closer at the range of quirks present in this universe. You see, the My
Jump! The conclusions!
Hero quirks fall into one of 3 broad category types: transformation, mutant, and emitter. Transformation type quirks, as the name implies, transform or change the form of the user's body in some way, or adds a new feature to the user's body for a limited amount of time. For example, one transformation quirk gives the user the power to harden any part of their body, thereby increasing its resistance and defensive capabilities. Another, possessed by the character Mount Lady, is able to transform into a giant version of herself. Pretty self-explanatory. Moving on. Mutant type quirks, unlike transformations, are permanent changes to the user's physiology. These are quirks like Froppy's frog form, Ojiro's tail, and Toru's invisibility.
Invisibility! Notice Netpad just didn't even put in a picture of Thor. Best girl, you know, best
These
girl.
quirks can't be turned off. And then finally there's the emitter type quirks, which are pretty much everything else. They're defined as being activation based, so they can be turned on and off, and unlike the other 2 categories, emitter quirks don't actually alter the user's appearance. Instead, the user's just able to generate substances or change certain materials around them at will. This includes everything from emitting an aroma that puts people to sleep to emitting sweat that happens to explode. More unusual examples of emitter quirks belong to Shota Izawa, who can cancel the quirks of others just by looking at them, and Hitoshi Shinso, who can brainwash anyone who answers one of his questions.
What does the fox
thereby
say?
forcing them to do what he says. And between those 3 classifications, that encompasses all known quirks in this universe. Equipped with that knowledge, now let's examine All Might's quirk, One for All. Even though it's technically one quirk, One for All is actually a combination of 2 very separate powers. First, a quirk that stockpiles power, much like a battery storing energy, and second, a quirk that can be passed on to others, just like the passing of a torch. As a result of this odd combination of powers, One for All makes each new person to inherit it stronger than the last.
One person improves the power, then hands it off to another person. It continues to grow as it's passed along.
It's how All Might, user number 8, is able to be the uncontested greatest hero in the world, and how Deku, All Might's successor, presumably rises to that exact same status.
No, stronger, which really send a really strong, clear message to everyone. Be stronger than your teacher. Be stronger than the person who taught you. Right? Your previous generations improve upon it, and your future generations improve upon you. And further and further and further, with better improvements, with growth, and all in all, just awesome individuals.
Hence the story of My Hero Academia.
This is the story of how I became the world's greatest hero.
蒸蒸日上, you know.
But here's where things start to get suspicious. This is All Might's body when he's not using the quirk, and this is his body when he is using the quirk. Now, based on these images, you would think that One for All would be classified as a transformation-style quirk, right? All Might's body is clearly undergoing a huge transformation every time he activates the power, growing in size and muscle mass by like 100-fold. But it's not. The manga very explicitly classifies it as an emitter-style quirk, which, again, we just reviewed and are defined by not altering the user's appearance. Now, that might seem like it's a really minor distinction, a really small nit to pick as to how this quirk works, but then look at this. When Deku uses One For All, his body doesn't change. He remains the lean, scrawny kid that we've seen throughout this series. And before you ask, no, that's not just because he's only using 5% of One For All's power. In the manga, even when Deku pushes his power output over 20%, we still don't see any signs of Deku's muscles growing at all. And this is a very minor spoiler for the manga, so if you don't want to be spoiled, just skip ahead a few seconds. But shortly beyond where we've seen in the show, Deku is able to temporarily use 100% and even an incredible 1,000,000% of One For All's power, and yet his body still remains the same.
No, you are wrong. You are absolutely wrong. There is a scar. There is a scar.
It's also worth noting that All Might's size doesn't equate to his strength. Again, mild spoilers ahead, but in chapter 95 of the manga, we see what happens when All Might gives up One For All. He has a few embers of his former power left, but they get used up. He specifically says early on in the chapter, "The embers inside me have vanished." Later, he talks more about it to Deku. "The embers of One For All inside me are gone, and what's more, I can't maintain my muscle form anymore." Now, this tells us two interesting things. First, the way this is phrased implies that his muscle form and One For All are two different things. One For All is gone, but also I can't maintain my muscle form anymore. We also see him briefly transform into muscle form in these panels, only to revert immediately back. But again, if One For All were his only quirk and the embers were truly burned out like he says earlier in the chapter, well then he shouldn't be able to do that transformation at all. All of this would seem to suggest that All Might wasn't born quirkless, that he possessed some sort of transformation ability before he inherited One For All. If you need more proof, just look at how Gran Torino, All Might's trainer, describes his early days with the hero.
He was pretty much able to use One For All right off the bat. Of course, he had the body going for him, so there's that.
The scene then cuts to a young All Might getting trained, and his body looks no different than Deku's. He's still relatively skinny. He's not super buff. And that's not all. While discussing Deku's strength training, All Might even says to him offhandedly that for some reason he was able to access 100% of One For All's power as soon as he inherited it. That's a weirdly specific detail to include, isn't it? That means that there has to be something that set All Might apart from Deku and allowed him to handle all that excess energy when Deku can't, despite both of them supposedly starting off quirkless. So what would be so special and significantly different about All Might's body that would enable him to use powers right away without a quirk that would differentiate him from Deku? It's hard to imagine an actual explanation here. All of it seems to point to All Might having some sort of hidden quirk before he actually inherited One For All. And it's not like latent, undiscovered quirks are unheard of in this universe. In fact, the very origin of One For All exists in an undiscovered, almost vestigial quirk. One For All was originally created by a villain named All For One.
Yes, I mentioned before, right? It's One For All, reverse, All For One.
And if you think that gets confusing, it does. All For One's quirk allowed him to transfer quirks between other people. Now, All For One's brother was seemingly born quirkless, so All For One gave his brother a quirk that allowed him to store up power. However, unknown to All For One, his brother actually did have a quirk, one that allowed him to pass his quirks on to other people. It would have been totally useless on its own, but with the new quirk that was added by his brother, those two quirks combined to create One For All.
This evil man had a quirkless younger brother, even though everyone thought he was quirkless. Turns out the brother did have a quirk. He had a useless power that only allowed him to pass on quirks. And so the stockpiling ability merged with the younger brother's power. And that is how One For All came to be.
So it's already canon that there can be latent or hidden quirks in people, so why not All Might? Here's the thing, when you look at how it operates, One For All isn't about muscle strength. Sure, Deku needs to strengthen up for 10 months so inheriting the quirk doesn't destroy his limbs.
An unprepared body can't fully inherit it. Your arms and legs would shoot off if you tried to.
Which in and of itself is a bit
kaboom!
Weird to begin with, right? If All Might were indeed quirkless to begin with and then received the power and could suddenly use One For All from the get-go, wouldn't he just be under the impression that Deku could handle it as well? Anyway, the actual power of One For All isn't mechanical power coming from muscles. It actually works by storing up metabolic energy, converting it to kinetic energy, and then channeling that energy through the body. It's pretty easy to see this in action. In episode 2, we see All Might punch so hard that it changes the weather. pure super strength isn't gonna do that. You also see it in Deku. When Deku uses One For All, we see the air around him crackling with green energy. That's not just for show, that's the excess energy of his quirk overflowing from his body. The same doesn't happen to All Might because his biceps are actually beefy enough to contain all of it inside of him, which seems to indicate that perhaps All Might's latent transformation quirk is to expand his muscles without really increasing his overall strength. It's a seemingly useless quirk unless he inherits something that requires his body to store huge amounts of energy, just like the creation of One For All to begin with, a useless quirk on its own that becomes super powerful when combined with exactly the right complementary quirk. But lastly, think about this. Before All Might passed the quirk on to Deku, the only goal of One For All users passing on their power was to eventually create a superhero capable of taking down All For One, that insanely powerful evil brother who literally had access to all the superpowers in the world. Now, with that as a pretty important goal, would anyone in their right mind entrust that power to someone with no quirk of their own and thus no power of their own? If you're looking to keep hope alive that you'll defeat the world's strongest supervillain, that just wouldn't make any sense. No, the far more likely scenario is that All Might was chosen for his quirk.
I choose you, Pikachu!
Quirk that enabled him to be a bigger, more powerful battery. Someone that was perfectly suited to use the power of One For All. Before inheriting One For All Might believed that he had no quirk. He said as much to Deku, who found it hugely inspirational to hear that his hero also started out as a weak, powerless, quirkless person. But for as inspiring as a story as that is, it's still just a story. If you actually stop and look at the classification of the quirk, how it behaves, and even the motivations of the hero's passing One For All on, All Might must have had a quirk before inheriting it from his predecessor. At best, he wasn't aware of it until he acquired One For All. At worst, he outright lied to Deku in an
That's an interesting theory to have.
effort to push his apprentice to new and even more impressive heights. Or who knows, maybe season 3 will prove me completely wrong. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And speaking of season 3, it's going on right now. And who doesn't love watching the creators of a series decimate my theories in real time? But it's only airing in Japan, and I can't speak Japanese. All those new All Might memes that are going to be circulating on Twitter are going to pass me by. Oh no, my friends, you too can watch season 3, eat away at my theory, and be hip with all the new memes as they're happening.
Do you just say memes instead of memes? Seriously?
Live with Verve. That's right. All 3 seasons of My Hero Academia are available subbed if you're a purist, or dubbed if you hate reading, right now on Verve, with each new episode of season 3 going up every Saturday starting, well, this past Saturday. So don't wait. If you're not on Verve already, you're already falling behind the season. For a limited time, theorists just like you watching right now can get a 30-day free trial of Verve Premium, which gives you ad-free access to 13 channels, including Crunchyroll, Rooster Teeth, Funimation, and Cartoon Hangover by going to verve.co/MattPat. Link is down below in the description. And like you heard, with both Crunchyroll and Funimation in the Verve family, Verve is going to be your go-to place for all the must-watch anime, including Cowboy Bebop, which just celebrated its 20-year anniversary a few days ago. Now, if you haven't seen Cowboy Bebop, it's actually one of my first ever introductions to anime. It is a must-watch for a reason. This is one of the anime that all other anime are built upon. Or if you're interested in something a bit newer, Verve also just got the first 53 episodes of Dragon Ball Super dubbed. So as a pleb who admittedly enjoys watching the dubs more than the subs, I'm finally gonna get my chance to catch up on all that Goku Black business. Because, you know, apparently you can never have enough Goku, unless of course you're talking about Dragon Ball GT, but, you know, not Dragon Ball GT. Plus, best of all, Verve allows you to download episodes to your mobile device so you can watch it all without an internet connection, which I gotta say has been a big reason why I was able to do this theory on My Hero Academia today. Binging MHA on a plane over to VidCon Europe was a godsend. 14 hours of travel fly by when you're watching a guy with exploding sweat duke it out against a guy who breaks his fingers like every other episode. So anyway, save your data, catch up on some awesome anime, and even find some new shows that you'll love on some of the other Verve channels. Try it all out for the next 30 days with Verve Premium at verve.co/MattPat. Use those quirky awesome some engine legs to rush down into the description and click that link. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to actually go download some more anime because I have another long plane ride that I've got tonight. There's been way too much travel in the first couple months of this year, but it's finally starting to end. So hopefully I'll be at home for a while, getting able to do some GT lives. But holy geez, there's been a lot of travel. It's gotten me caught up on a lot of anime. You can do it too. Click the link.
Alright, thank you so much for watching this video. This video came out in the year 2018, so it's around 3 years ago. Yeah, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel, since I appreciate all the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very uplifting and motivating for all of you for positivity. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching this video together with me. Really grateful and appreciative. And once again, but hey, that's just a theory. A film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, thank you so much. Please do remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Ferb is now 10 years old, meaning that
Dinner channel, sorry, just wondering. So super kind of, I might want to take a break from this because these theories are kind of boring. No offense. I'll see you later if I see you later. Bye for now. No worries, no worries. I mean, this video's a bit, how to say, old. These are old videos. 2018. It's like I can say that it's old because yeah, 2018. Gosh, that's old, man. Anyways, hope to see you next time. KV Profits, maybe later. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming over. Thank you. Hello everyone, it's me. Who's been messing with everything? It's been a good all along. Who's been pulling all those? Oh, I'm back. Oh, welcome back. Welcome back, KV Profits. Hi. Where are you from? Okay, sorry. I remember you are from USA, right? Because most of my audience are from USA. The proper question is, what time is it over there? Because right now it's 11:31 AM in Singapore. Phineas. Phineas and Ferb. I won't stay, but I will visit. Oh. Okay, thank you. Sincerely appreciate it. Well, on my computer it says 10:32 PM. Oh my gosh, we are like 13 hours difference 13 hours difference. That's a long time. 13 hours of difference. Sincerely appreciate it. Thank you so much for being so supportive. Let's go. Let's start. How do you think I should start? I should start with this one. Maybe this one. Hey! Hi everyone, it's me, and today, one more time. Oh, so we are literally 13 hours apart. You are literally on the other side of the earth, right? Literally on the other side of the earth, compared to me. Hey, I swear right now it's super hot. Right now it's super hot. It is 30 degrees. 30 degrees right now. It's super hot. 30 degrees. 30. Super hot right now. Not sure about you. What's the temperature right now over there? Right now it's over here. It's 30. 30 degrees. Hey! Hello everyone, it's me! And today, let's watch this theory about Phineas and Ferb. Sorry. Phineas and Ferb. I typed in wrong. Phineas. Sorry. Well, I didn't get how to answer that. Right now it's 30 degrees in Singapore. 30. 30 degrees. But I'm gonna say. Alright. I'm gonna say keep it profits. There is raining outside. So what's the temperature right now? Right now it's super hot. Super hot in Singapore. Like, yeah. The sun. Of course, afternoon now. Right now it's going to be afternoon, 11:35 AM. So what's the temperature outside for you? For me it's 30 degrees. But I'm warm. Okay. Interesting. Not sure if you know, right? Singapore is on the equator. Actually it's not on the equator, it's 1 degree off the equator. But it doesn't actually matter that much because it's only 1 degree off the equator. So if you're on the equator of the earth, you are super hot. Literally. Yeah. $56 degrees? What? That's not possible. 56 degrees, that's not possible. That's not possible. It's hotter than the desert, you know? 56 degrees Celsius, that's not possible. 56 degrees, that's not possible. You will die. It's not figuratively you die, you will literally die from 56 degrees Celsius if the weather is there. Unless you have shelter, but the shelter will deteriorate faster. 56 degrees, that's not possible. What? Okay. Okay. Let's focus on the video, okay? Let's focus on the video. For me, it's 30 degrees at 30 and I feel hot already. If you have 56 degrees, which is around twice of mine, I say 30, you say 56. Wow. Okay. Okay. Anyways, let's start. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch this theory about Phineas and Ferb. Right. There's a circle. Okay. I don't understand. I'm sorry, I don't understand. 56 degrees. 56 circle. I don't understand what I mean. I'm sorry. My deal pathology. Okay, I'm not too sure. Like, okay, I'm sorry. Yeah. Anyways, let's carry on the video. Alright. Hello everyone! Hi everyone, it's me, and today let's watch this theory about Phineas and Ferb together!
Phineas and Ferb is now 10 years old, meaning that those of you who grew up watching it are now ready to enter the dating scene. So in the hopes of helping you find your own true Isabella, it's time to welcome you back to Matt Pat's Guide to Finding the One, Animal Magnetism Magnifinator Edition.
Okay, Matt Pat's Guide to Finding the One, Animal Magnetism Magnificator Edition.
Hey baby, is there a magnet in your pants? Cause my magnetism magnifinator can't resist your buns of steel. Have you seen Perry?
Is that the name of your platypus?
No.
Oh!
Hey girl, has anyone ever told you that you're a real babinator with your settings cranked up to stunning?
What you doing?
You. Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello. The opening for this episode is very weird.
The show that looks at the animated characters who do crazy science and does even crazier science off their work. Today I'm returning to the world of Phineas and Ferb, which we did an episode on a couple months back. If you haven't seen that one, definitely go check it out. We basically prove that Dr. Doofenshmirtz is secretly the good guy, a sleeper agent for the OWCA. Episode is linked in the upper right hand corner of the screen, so if you're so excited that you need to go watch it right now, well then, you know where to find it. Otherwise, just click the link at the end of the video. But even though that episode talked about how old Dr. Doof's not such a bad guy after all, it doesn't mean that he's not without a few flaws. Hey, we've all got our shortcomings, but it just so happens to be that Dr. Doofenshmirtz's weakness is literally his entire job. Starting from the very beginning, episode 1 of the series, we see how this so-called evil scientific genius basically doesn't even science, bro. This guy has hundreds of inventions over the course of the series, but the magnetism magnifinator from the pilot episode is not only the first that we see, but it's also the one that gets referenced time and time again over the next 4 seasons.
Quickly! We must separate the magnet from the magnifinator before it is too late! Is it just me, or is this a serious deja vu moment?
Breaking the fourth wall. See, wait a minute. I haven't done this before, right? Deja vu. Deja vu.
I feel like I've totally been here before, like...
That's it, Agent P. You've got to get to that time machine and go back to the past, right before that giant tinfoil ball puts you in a full body cast for 18 months.
Basically, the magnetic magnifinator is a super strong magnetic laser that somehow sucks in a magnetic field on one end, amplifies it on the other, and manages to shoot it directly at a target, which in this case happens to be all the skyscrapers on the eastern seaboard. Dr. Doof's plan is to cover that entire part of the country in tinfoil, and then use the magnetism magnifinator to pull on the skyscrapers on the east coast so that everything on the east is pulled towards the west. His goal is to ultimately reverse the rotation of the Earth. Why would he want to reverse the rotation of the Earth? Well, that's a bit up in the air.
You may well ask yourself, why would he do this? Well, let me just answer that by saying I haven't really worked out all the bugs yet. I mean, the tinfoil alone cost a lot.
But is Dr. Doof's most infamous invention of the entire series a scientific success, or just a load of electromagnetic excrement? Well, it seems like his invention is a complete disaster in every way. Today's episode actually looks at the science behind the magnetic magnifinator to reveal just how advanced Doof is, and probably more accurately, how smart the creators of the show were when they were designing this thing. And then I'll just talk about the critical flaw that makes this whole thing fall apart. So get ready! Today is gonna be one polarizing episode.
Get it? Polarizing, because north and south, the poles of the you get the point.
polarizing episode. You get it? It's like, get it? Like magnets? Hey, look, okay, I haven't covered magnets on this channel before, okay? So I got a lot of pent-up puns to unleash. So even though
I'm positive
doesn't know why he's doing it, it's clear that Doof wants to reverse the rotation of the Earth. But already there's a huge problem with that. Pretty much the first thing you learn in physics is the concept of closed systems. Yeah, dust off like the first 10 pages of your high school physics textbook for this one. In this case, the eastern seaboard that Doof is shooting the Magnifinator at and his own headquarters are both part of what's known as a closed system. According to classical physics, exerting a force inside a closed system doesn't change anything about the system relative to its surroundings. In easier to understand terms, if Doof's goal is to change the rotation of the Earth in space, he's never gonna do that by shooting one thing on the Earth at another thing that is still on the Earth. Trying to do this would be like trying to move a car by putting a moving tire inside the vehicle. Nothing is gonna change. The only way for a car to move is for it to exert force against something external.
External.
Like the road. By the same token, the only way to move an object like the Earth through space is for the object to exert a force against something outside of itself. When you're able to do that, that's what's known as an open system. But in order for magnets to affect anything about the Earth's rotation, he'd need to be aiming the Magnifinator at the planet next door, not just some tin foil a few buildings away.
As a lazy tailor would say, suit yourself!
But okay, so the cat's out of the bag that he can't change the rotation of the Earth, but maybe he could have done something else interesting with the Magnifinator instead. As it turns out, at the time of the premiere episode of Phineas and Ferb, Dr. Doofenshmirtz was actually 8 years ahead of time with the Magnifinator. And that's no joke. Believe it or not, astrophysicists have spent most of the last decade trying to catch up to exactly what you see him doing in this episode. You think that's nuts? Let's take a closer look at the magnetic Magnifinator to see just what's going on here. On the one end, you have this huge magnet, which seems to make sense if you're trying to suck the buildings right off the pavement with magnetism. But if you know anything about magnetism, you're probably gonna notice two huge problems right off the bat.
Magneto from X-Men.
The first is that regular magnets don't have directionality. Sure, they have poles, but that doesn't make them directional. You can't just point a magnet like a gun and go, bang, I just shot you really hard with this magnetic field. When you create a magnet, it honestly just kinda sits there and emanates a magnetic field all around itself. It's not exactly all that threatening. Now, problem two is even bigger. Even if he has a strong magnet over here, it's not gonna do anything to those buildings over there. Magnetic strength works by the inverse cube law, which means that as two magnetic objects get farther and farther away, their attraction drops off exponentially. An object that's twice as far away from a magnet will require 8 times as much strength to attract it. Increase that distance by 10 times, and now you're gonna need to increase the strength of the magnet by 1,000 times to compensate. Dr. Doofenshmirtz is trying to use his magnet to pull on buildings a kilometer away, which is basically impossible for any magnet that exists on Earth. The strongest magnet that currently exists in the world today is located at the National High Magnetic Field Laboratory in Florida, which has a magnetic strength of 25 Tesla.
Alright, do remember that this video came out in the year 2018, so a lot of changes have been improved. Yeah.
That's Tesla, the unit used to measure magnetic fields, and not, you know, the car. 25 Tesla is 500,000 times stronger than the Earth's own magnetic field.
You know, it's OP when the persons named Tesla have a SI unit named Tesla, named after the person Tesla. Awesome.
Which seems ridiculously strong, but then remember that we as people living on the surface of the Earth don't even feel the Earth's magnetic fields. And the only way that we ever even do notice it is if we're using an instrument sensitive enough to detect it, like a compass. So to get around these two major problems, Dr. Doofenshmirtz either needs to focus that magnet or find a way to get that magnetic field a heck of a lot closer to those buildings.
Correct. And moreover, fun fact, do you know that human blood actually repels magnets? Do you know that? Okay, which part of the magnet pole does repel? Because for every repellation, there's an attraction, correct?
And bizarrely enough, that is exactly what we see him doing in the show. You heard that right. Dr. Doof is doing the right thing.
I did not expect that.
Take another look at the parts of the Magnifinator, namely this tube right here and what looks to be a concentrated magnetic laser beam that he shoots out towards the city. He probably didn't know it at the time, but these are now real things that the most advanced physicists in the world are still working to develop. The first is this magnetic pipe, or hose, which is 100% 100% real. By placing a magnetic field close to the opening of a specialized tube, theoretical physicists, or just theorists, as I like to call them, have...
Theorists! A fellow theorist from the film Theorists.
actually managed to preserve a magnetic field over a much longer distance than the field would have existed by itself. Right now, they believe they can actually preserve 90% of a magnetic field in a magnetic superconductor hose, transporting magnetism in a way that previously seemed impossible. The other thing that's going on here is potentially even more exciting, because it doesn't just involve magnets, it also involves lasers, which are just inherently cool. We can see that the Magnifinator doesn't just seem to be a plain old magnetic field generator, it's a laser beam at one end. And once again, Dr. Doof is way ahead of his time, creating what would have been the world's first super magnet laser, something that, as of 2016, is being built for the first time ever. These magnet lasers are pretty much exactly what they sound like. They're ultra powerful lasers that have the special ability of also creating extremely powerful magnetic fields. Thousands of times more powerful than any magnetic field humans have created in the past. Basically, these things would be a lot like Metroid grapple beams. The physics behind them are incredibly complicated, and if you're a Faraday effect aficionado, then I invite you to dive into these things in the comments, but for what we're talking about right now, I'm basically gonna boil it down to the very top level. Lasers, which are basically streams of super energized electrons, they start to get all kinds of special properties as you turn up the intensity of the laser. One of the special properties that starts to happen is radiation friction, or RF. This is basically the friction between electrons at incredibly high energy levels, which gives you more than just atomic rug burn, it actually creates an ultra powerful magnetic field around the laser beam. Again, this is the made for YouTube version of this incredibly advanced science, so if this sounds interesting to you, then have a look at the stuff. It is literally as close as humans are gonna get to magic. Anyway, what you come out of this process with is a magnetic field on the order of 1 billion Gauss, which is a big number that doesn't mean a whole lot if we don't have anything to compare it to. So for comparison, an MRI machine creates a magnetic field of 70,000 Gauss, which is enough to interfere with pacemakers, metal prosthetics, or any electronics that get near the thing. And this magnetic field is in the billions, basically an astronomic level. You can do things with this level of Gauss like contain nuclear fusion. It's the kind of thing that rivals the magnetic strength of a neutron star. You heard that right, Doof created a device that rivals the power of stars. So yeah, with that kind of magnetism, Dr. Doofenshmirtz could definitely do some serious damage.
Wow, he is a super genius, you know. Wow, that's incredible.
If you give me another chance, I promise to hurt you in the right way, with cartoonish physical violence and elaborate traps constructed out of strange things I've purchased over the internet.
Okay, so far we found a way to make the Magnifinator possible, in theory. But here's where it all comes undone. To create what he thinks will be a super strong magnetic attraction, Dr. Doofenshmirtz covers all the skyscrapers on the eastern seaboard with tinfoil. So let's see what happens at the big moment when he thinks he's gonna rip them all up.
Oh, the eastern seaboard, thereby reversing rotation of this. Well, that didn't work.
You bet it didn't, my little doofle pants. Get your dipoles straight, my friend. You created the world's first magnetic hose. You hooked it up to the world's most advanced magnetic laser in history, which can literally harness the power of effing stars. But you forgot one thing. One crucial detail in your entire plot. Tinfoil isn't magnetic.
Yeah. You can choose a different material. It's not that hard, right?
Well, it's certainly true that metals like iron and nickel are attracted to magnets. Not all metals are. Ferromagnetism is the property that we use to describe things that are magnetic. What we refer to as tinfoil isn't ferromagnetic, and also isn't made of tin, actually. At least not today. Back in the 1800s, actual sheets of tin were commonly used, but when it came to covering food, they left everything they covered with a metallic flavor, which is why in the 1930s and 40s, tin was replaced with cheaper and tastier aluminum. But while switching to aluminum may help Doof's tuna sandwich stay fresher, it's not gonna help him create mega magnets anytime soon, since neither tin nor aluminum are magnetic. In fact, if anything, covering these buildings in foil is gonna make it harder for the pieces of these buildings that are are magnetic like all the steel and iron supports to come ripping out. He is literally creating a barrier against his own magnetic laser. And yes, technically iron foil does exist and would be magnetic here, but Dr. Doof specifically says that he uses tinfoil because...
I mean, the tinfoil alone costs a lot.
If you were to upgrade to iron foil to cover even the one city section that we see on screen in the episode, which is just a tiny fraction of the real eastern seaboard, it would cost at least $742,500. And we know realistically that for the entire East Coast, he'd have to repeat this dozens to hundreds of different times. So in the end, despite all the resources and incredibly advanced technology Dr. Doofenshmirtz has at his fingertips, from ultra lasers to theoretical physics, his whole plan is undone by not paying attention to the most fundamental rules of magnetism.
Ferromagnetism.
The stuff that we learn in like 3rd grade. And instead of taking over the world in the very first episode, he gave us 4 more seasons of Phineas and Ferb science to dissect. So don't worry, we'll have plenty more of his plans to foil over on this channel. So make sure you activate that subscribe-inator you see on screen right now so you're around as we cover more classic Disney Channel and Nickelodeon shows. Everything from Danny Phantom and Fairly Odd Parents to Drake and Josh and Zach and Cody. Here's our previous Phineas and Ferb episode on the left. And remember, that's just a theory. A film theory. And...
wow, that's awesome. Thank you so much for watching this video. That's very interesting to be so educational and entertaining to watch. Entertainment for the win. Yeah! Well, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. I sincerely appreciate all of your support and encouragement for me. I hope that you find this video very enjoyable to watch together with me and hope to see you in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory and cut. Bye bye, thanks so much. Once again, I'm sincerely appreciative of all of your support and I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you so much for your positivity and wholesomeness. Support and encourage me. Thank you. Right, so that is... I'm sorry. If that makes matter, I just gotta go. Alright, KV Prophets, thank you so much. Do remember to sleep well. Right now I think it's around 11 PM in your place. Thank you so much. Have good rests. Thank you.
Is Thanos? Let me spell.
let's go. Let's start. Yeah, you should have gone for the head. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch MadPat's funny fail theory about Avengers Infinity War. Let's go.
Who is that?
One more time. One more time. You should have gone for the head. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch MadPat's funny fail theory about Avengers Infinity War. Let's go.
Thanos? Let me spell it for you. Who is Thanos?
One more time.
Who is Thanos?
You should have gone for the head. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch MadPat's funny failed theory about Avengers Infinity War. Let's go.
Who is Thanos? Let me spell it for you. T is for Tesseract, ripping holes in space-time. H is for him, you'll see. A is for Aether, it's anything at all part of Thanos' theory. N is for necklace, not Agamotto. O is for orb, really. S is for Loki's scepter, it's a film theory. Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Wow, the failed film theory.
Show that's willing to take the 8-hour bullet that is watching Marvel's Inhumans so you don't have to. Today I'm going to be digging into one of the most burning questions leading up to Avengers Infinity War. Where is the Soul Stone? The 6th and final Infinity Stone. And
I know. It's on a different planet, not on this theory.
There were a ton of expectations that it was going to appear in Black Panther, seeing as how that was the last film in the franchise before Infinity War. But then the movie came out and nothing. As Black Panther's director Ryan Coogler put it,
I love the Infinity Stones as much as any comic book fan. It's just Wakanda already has this thing, which is vibranium. For us, that was special enough. So to throw in something like another special thing didn't feel right.
So
another special thing doesn't feel right.
Where is this thing hiding? Well, I don't know what all the internet hoopla is about, because here's the thing. We've already seen it. It is literally hiding in plain sight. So here's your spoiler alert for the whole of the MCU, as today we're going to weave through the massive plot of the 18-movie, 10-television show Marvel Universe to find the real answer to where this glowing piece of radical rock has been hiding all along.
Alright, let me give a spoiler alert on his spoiler alert that his spoiler is a wrong spoiler alert. Yeah, aka he's wrong.
Before creation itself, there were 6 singularities.
Wrong! You are absolutely wrong! Because before the 6 singularities, aka the 6 Infinity Stones, there are the Celestials. Actually, before the Celestials, there's darkness. So, okay, first of all, darkness. Then after that, the Celestials. The Celestials, then the 6 singularities. Yes.
Infinity Stone.
You know how in school you have mnemonic devices like "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally," where each letter is there to help you remember the proper order of operations, parenthesis, exponent, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction? Well, if you want to impress your friends as you walk into Infinity War later this week, the locations of the Infinity Stones function largely the same way.
Yeah, it's something like the same way, but if you actually do this, yeah, you're gonna make a fool of yourself.
All you need to remember is Thanos, just like the SpongeBob song I sang at the beginning of the episode, because each one corresponds with a letter in Thanos' name. T is for Tesseract, which hides the blue space stone. As confirmed by the Infinity War trailers, we know Loki has it, stealing it away from the treasury of Asgard at the end of Thor Ragnarok. H, well, I'm gonna get to that one later. A is for Aether, which honestly means nothing to you if you skipped over Thor the Dark World, and who could blame you for that one? Thor the Dark World literally cured me of insomnia I was having a couple months back. So
I really like it that he mentioned with the cry emoji.
So put that one on your Google Play review score. Basically, the Aether is just a bunch of raspberry jelly sandwiched between two rocks with the superpower of making the final battle really difficult to see. Since Asgard already had the Tesseract at the end of Dark World, they were totally like, yeah, thanks but no thanks, guys, but we already got one of these ultra-powerful stones. So instead, they hand it off to this guy, the Collector, at the end of the movie. And during Thor's awkward bath time in the middle of Age of Ultron, we see the raspberry jam solidify into the red reality stone.
Raspberry jam.
N is for necklace, which refers to the Eye of Agamotto, Doctor Strange's time-controlling amulet, which, fittingly enough, contains the green time stone.
He's an alien from space, here to steal a necklace from a wizard.
But as far as I'm concerned, it might as well be called the Retcon Stone, am I right? Get it? Because once you can reverse time, literally nothing has consequences. Up top. Okay. No one's giving me a high five. It's all right, it's all right. Anyway, the O in Thanos stands for Orb, the quest item from Guardians of the Galaxy that hid the purple Power Stone, the stone that destroyed the Collector's museum and wound up in possession of the Nova Corps at the end of that movie.
Unless you are the TVA, then the Infinity Stones will be quite literally useless.
He's not, and I'm quoting him here, 100% a dick.
Do you believe him?
I don't know that I believe anyone's 100% a dick, man.
And lastly, as if the cast of Thor didn't have enough access to ultra-powerful space rocks, S is for Scepter, specifically the scepter used by Loki throughout the first Avengers movie.
So is Loki's scepter
to control people's thoughts and actions. Age of Ultron reveals that inside of that glowing blue gem was, surprise, surprise, a glowing yellow gem. The Yellow Mind Stone. It was like a Kinder Egg surprise opening YouTube video, but done on $1 billion scale. Anyway, Ultron puts the Mind Stone into the still developing Vision, where it still sits for now. Now, obviously, I'm just telling you this theory because it's more fun than it is serious. Doing things like reducing the Eye of Agamotto to being called a necklace is just trying to shoehorn the letters into the right places to come up with a cool acronym. I mean,
and you must think about it. There's the ship of Theseus when Vision's mentioned. Are you the real ship of Theseus or are you a fake ship of Theseus? What if both are real?
Guys, I just came up with the next really cool theory about this. Get ready to cover this one, Screen Rant. I present to you the breast theory. Ball, rod, eye, Aether, sovereign, tesseract. Somehow I don't think the breast theory is going to be quite as popular as the Thanos one. Anyway, the fun thing about the Thanos theory is that, as you can see, I left out H. And honestly, after reading online theories and doing my own research, the most likely place to find the Soul Stone both relate to the letter H. Either Heimdall or him. Yes, there are plenty of theories circulating around online for everything from Tony Stark himself being the Soul Stone to this orange-tinted planet we see in the trailers for Infinity War being a world inside of the Soul Stone. But here's the thing. From an evidentiary standpoint, Heimdall and him are the only two theories with substantial enough backing to be considered plausible. So let me first...
Plausible, but have you thought of it that maybe the writers can play a trick on you?
Go through the Heimdall theory because personally it's my favorite of the bunch and the one that I'm rooting for to happen. And then I'll cover the him theory, which honestly seems very clearly where this whole soul train is headed toward. One thing we know for sure is that the Soul Stone is colored orange. We see as much in the Collector's screen when he's describing the Infinity Stones to the Guardians of the Galaxy. And throughout the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when a character gets exposed to an Infinity Stone, their eyes glow in that color. Ronan the Accuser in Guardians, purple eyes only after he gets the Power Stone. Hawkeye getting possessed by the Mind Stone in Avengers, blue eyes, but remember that was back when the Mind Stone was still blue. Even the Aether in Thor the Dark World makes the eyes of both Jane Foster and Malekith deep red. So who just so happens to have himself some orange eyes? Heimdall, the all-seeing, all-hearing guard of the Bifrost Bridge. And it's not just that his eyes are orange, but his eyes also get a fair amount of screen time. Dramatic close-ups, scenes in which he's giving sight to others, and probably most suspicious of all, Thor's vision in Age of Ultron, where he actually sees the other 5 stones.
Or maybe the writers or the authors can put a twist on it. Just saying.
Heimdall in this scene, blind. His orange eyes have disappeared. Perhaps the Soul Stone has been removed from his body and thereby leaving him sightless. Heimdall even explicitly says in Thor 2 that he can
see 9 realms and 10 trillion souls.
Whether stone related or not, Heimdall just naturally has a connection with souls. Not to mention, when Heimdall first appeared in Thor, he was wearing a suit of armor with an orange stone in its chest. And with Idris Elba, Heimdall's actor, going on record to say that he wants a bigger part in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, having his character be in possession of the last and most mysterious Infinity Stone would be a great excuse to bring him more into the spotlight. Or, alternatively, if it's hidden inside of Heimdall, kill him off and bring back Elba as someone else.
Like, for example, the Suicide Squad! Maybe.
So honestly, that's my personal favorite theory because it follows the rules of Chekhov's gun. Someone or something that's already been introduced into the series contains this magical MacGuffin. But here's why it probably won't happen. If Heimdall truly has the stone, that would now make it 4 stones out of 6 that had been in the hands of Asgardians. And it would make it the 2nd stone out of 6 where it's actually inside of one of the characters. We also know, based on the end credit scene of Thor Ragnarok and the trailers for Avengers Infinity War, that Thanos catches up to the Asgardian ship where he takes the Tesseract from Loki. We see him add the blue gem to his gauntlet. But then, who else is on that ship? None other than Heimdall. And with Thanos having a natural connection to the stones, it would be odd for him to get one and not the other. Just not a very efficient trip. Plus, we get plenty of close-ups of Thanos' Infinity Gauntlet and it only has a couple stones. Unless, of course, the trailers have been CGI altered to hide that Thanos has the stone in his gauntlet already, like they hid Thor's missing eye in Ragnarok. But again, I don't really think that's the case here. Because like I said, we've seen the Soul Stone already, so this whole big mystery feels kind of moot. The Soul Stone is here. It's the glowing rock at the top of this birthing pod at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Or maybe the directors can also put another onto you know.
I don't know why none of
plot twist!
the other online theories have talked about this thing. You notice how it's slightly bigger than all the other Infinity Gems, just like the gauntlet space for the Soul Stone? It's even glowing a yellow-orange, which totally fits the color. And if you're wondering about color and whether that's yellow or orange, Thor's vision in Age of Ultron actually makes the Mind Stone look to be more orange than it is yellow, so color correction on these 2 stones is a bit wacky right now.
I think I shall call him Adam.
Now, if you're not a hardcore comics fan, you could be forgiven for not knowing the bizarre story of Adam Warlock, savior of Counter-Earth and ultimately half the universe. In the Earth 616 timeline, which is the primary Marvel Comics timeline, Adam Warlock was originally created by a secret group of human scientists on Earth called the Enclave. Back then, Adam simply called himself him. See, that's where that H in Thanos comes back. When he rebels against his creators, the cosmic entity known as the High Evolutionary gives him the Soul Gem. In Avengers Annual number 7, Thanos becomes the first to use the 6 Infinity Gems in unison. He's only able to be stopped by the collective forces of the Avengers, Adam Warlock, and Captain Marvel, who, wouldn't you know it, was recently revealed and who happens to have a movie smack dab in the middle between Infinity War Part 1 and Infinity War Part 2. But Adam's connection with the Soul Stone isn't just in one comic series. I mean, sure, in the Earth 616 universe, Warlock is often seen as one of the few beings powerful enough to stand up to Thanos, so it makes sense that he would appear in the MCU to stop him in Avengers 4, but the Soul Gem Adam Warlock connection spans across all the alternate universes. In the Marvel animated universe, the Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon reveals the Soul Stone is with Adam Warlock.
His gem's getting dark.
In the alternate reality of Earth 91119, the Soul Stone is in Adam Warlock's possession, and on and on. The 2 are practically inseparable.
But you must recognize that Adam Warlock is too OP, too strong. How do you want it standing next to those sort of semi-godlike characters? He'll be too strong. That's one of the reasons why I think Captain Marvel is late for Endgame. Because when Captain Marvel is on Earth, poof, the fight will be over. GG! You know, she just defeated everyone. Captain Marvel is just too strong. You need to give a plot device to make sure that she's not appearing for the main battle. Similarly, for Adam Warlock, if Adam Warlock is too OP, too strong, come on, you need to give her an excuse, like Vision was backstabbed. You see? Yeah. That's why I couldn't give it the full power. If not, like, under full power, they are just too strong, too OP.
So inseparable, in fact, that when you look at the list of characters who've actually used the Soul Stone, there's not a whole lot of other ones who've touched the thing. There's Thanos, there's Adam Warlock, there's Doctor Strange, and that's really about all the names that you would recognize who currently exist in the MCU. Well, all except for one other, Nebula, the angry blueberry from Guardians of the Galaxy, Thanos' adopted daughter and Gamora's adopted sister. Yep, of all the characters in this extended universe, she's the other person to ever be considered a previous owner. And here's why that's interesting. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2's plot begins with the Guardians destroying a giant monster in exchange for Nebula, who's been captured by the Sovereign. But what was Nebula doing there on the planet in the first place? We're told that she's been caught.
Our soldiers apprehended her attempting to steal the batteries.
And sure, we're told throughout the movie that these batteries are valuable.
We'll take them batteries. They're worth what, $250,000 on the open market?
And that they're powerful.
The batteries, they are exceptionally combustible and could destroy the entire fleet.
But Nebula as a character isn't driven by money, she's driven by revenge.
That means aka a super huge kaboom. Super huge kaboom.
As a child, my father would have Gamora and me battle one another in training. Every time my sister prevailed, my father would replace a piece of me with machinery. So after I murder my sister, I will buy a warship with every conceivable instrument of death. I will hunt my father like a dog and I will tear him apart slowly, piece by piece.
She isn't out for fortune, she is actively trying to kill Thanos. And the best way to do that would be with an Infinity Stone. The last Infinity Stone. The Soul Stone that she knows happens to be on the Sovereign planet and that winds up powering the Adam Warlock rebirthing chamber. At the beginning of the movie, clearly the Infinity Stones are on Nebula's mind.
You hate me? You left me there while you stole that stone for yourself. And yet here you stand, a hero.
This line might be easy enough to write off as a simple reference to the first film, but even still, it feels out of place. If you really stop and think about it, this line reveals what Nebula's thought process could be here. Step 1, steal the Soul Stone. Step 2, kill your family. Step 3, profit. Now, I can hear some of your Vulture cosplay feathers ruffling already because Adam isn't officially slated to appear until Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and MCU head honcho Kevin Feige officially claimed that Adam won't be in the Avengers movies. But remember, he also claimed that Captain Marvel wouldn't be in Infinity War. And let's just see what the Russo brothers have to say about that one.
Yeah, we have some great female characters in this. Captain Marvel is in it, Black Widow, Scarlet Witch.
No reference to Captain Marvel, but not Captain Marvel.
Honestly, we have to accept that sometimes studio executives are trying their best to hide cool surprises so that it doesn't ruin things for the audience. Hiding a big reveal like the location of the last Infinity Stone and the one character most likely to stop Thanos makes perfect sense if you're in his shoes.
But what if, even though it's the perfect sense, with all these clues and evidence that lines up, what if the executive put a plot twist? Alright, I'm sorry.
Here's the thing. There are going to be more than 60 characters in Infinity War, and Thanos is going to have to go from 0 Infinity Stones to at least 3. From this clip, we can tell that Thanos will start by acquiring the Power Stone, then move on to acquiring the Space Stone. Right now, neither of those stones are anywhere near Earth, with the Power Stone being guarded by the Nova Corps and the Space Stone being in Loki's possession in the Tesseract. A leaked scene also lets us know that Thanos goes looking for the Reality Stone and that the Collector claims to have sold it. We can also assume that Thanos doesn't have the red Reality Stone when he gets to Earth, as evidenced in this shot when Captain America incredibly stops Thanos' gauntlet.
But have you thought of it being CGI away?
That means that by the time he leaves Wakanda, at best, Thanos will have the Power Stone, Space Stone, and Mind Stone ripped free from Vision's head. And then,
or maybe he left Wakanda for his garden.
And maybe he goes to search for the red Reality Stone. This means that it's gonna take Thanos about 1 movie to collect at least 3 and maybe 4 Infinity Stones. And that's already a ton of stuff to cram into the space of 1 movie. With another Avengers movie coming out just around the corner, it would make perfect sense that the next movie would center around his quest for the rest of the stones. So there you have it. The Soul Stone, in my humble opinion, should be kept within Heimdall, but it's probably more likely in Adam Warlock. Either way, we probably won't get a good look at the Soul Stone at all until Avengers 4. I also wouldn't be surprised if it didn't show up at all in either Infinity War movie, with it being the primary MacGuffin for Phase 4 of Marvel. Or who knows, Marvel might just pull a Star Wars and have Thanos throw the completed Infinity Gauntlet off a cliff. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And if you're like me and you're bummed out that you won't get to see a Soul Stone for another 2 movies, take consolation on YouTube, in the form of lots of videos about shiny rocks. Now, I've talked about this before, but I've had a fascination with shiny gems, crystals, and rocks that probably have magical powers for as long as I can remember. So when I'm not theorizing about Infinity Stones, I still love learning about their real-world equivalents on the internet. And my favorite channel for gemology research is JTV. JTV's run by Natalie, a real-life gemologist who asked if I wanted to collab for an Infinity Stone themed episode, and I was totally like, heck yes, because
Gemstones expert.
Because she's an amazing resource for any kind of research related to gems in your favorite movies and TV shows. Like for instance today, what stones would you need to buy if you wanted to own your own set of real-world infinity gems? She does 2 videos like this a week where she analyzes all kinds of rocks, minerals, and metals from movies, TV shows, or around the world. And she comes to some pretty mind-blowing conclusions about them. It's a lot like theories, but around a very specific type of science. So if you're into gemology, mythical stones, or simply rocking out, head over to her channel by clicking the box you see on screen and giving her a subscribe. If you especially liked this theory, then you'll be really into her video comparing infinity stones to real-world gems. Or if you're feeling a bit more nostalgic, then check out her 3-part series on Steven Universe gemstones. So seriously, get your sparkle on and go show a fellow YouTuber some support.
Show support.
Diamonds aren't a girl's best friend, subscribers are.
Well, thank you so much. I'm sincerely thankful that MatPat have done so much research and so much digging into making these episodes very kind and very awesome. And also, he wants to help show support to other YouTube content creators as well. Help grow the community, and this sort of just helpful give it forwards beforehand is just awesome individuals. Moreover, I really like that he does collabs with so many people. He have done collabs with hundreds of people, and it's just growing and growing and growing, making the community more wholesome, more positive, and more educational, with an entertaining and enjoyable vibe. Entertainment, yes, these sort of behaviors are just wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, anyways, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and see appreciate all of your support and encouragement for me. Thank you so much. It's very motivating and uplifting for everyone. It's very supportive, and your positivity is just awesome. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in my next video. But hey, that's just theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Subscribe. Thank you. Alright, that's good. 那女孩对我说，说我是一个小偷，偷她的回忆。I've reacted to 5 videos. Now it's 12 plus video. Ah! Sorry, what did I do? We found Netherlands. Peter Pan! let's start. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch Peter Pan Theory together. Yes, go. Oh wait, what happened? I'm back. Hi, welcome back. What happened? How come it's not showing? Oh, there you go. You should be showing.
Wanna grow up, find a choice rocket. They got a million.
Welcome back, KB Profit. Right now it's 11:22 p.m. at your place, right? Oh my gosh, please don't remember to rest up. Thank you so much. I'm worried for your health. Remember, it's alright, I'm talking to you right here, right now, right? Remember, it's 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted rests. One more time, 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted rest if you are an adult. I'm not gonna ask about your age because it's inappropriate for me to ask, but you get me right. I'm not gonna ask about your age, but because it's inappropriate for me to ask. But if you are an adult, please remember that an average human adult requires 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted rests, aka 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Oh, is it off? Can you hear me? Testing 1, 2, 3. Can anybody hear me? Or am I talking to myself? My mind is running empty.
I don't wanna grow up, fun.
Alright, I'm gonna do a small audio test. So yeah, please remember to rest up first because right now it's 11:24 p.m. at your place. I'm worried for you. Really worried that you are not getting enough sleep. I'm so sorry. And audio is not working. Oh my god, the lag is horrible. The lag is horrible. Oh gosh, the lag is horrible. No, I'm fine. No. It's not no, you're fine. You think that you're fine, but your body is telling you otherwise. Your body is telling you otherwise. Please remember 6 to 8 hours of uninterrupted rests. Alright, 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Open with audio test. Testing 1, 2, 3. Can anybody hear me? Into myself. My mind is running empty.
I don't wanna grow up, fun.
Okay, can. Awesome, can. To be honest, I go to sleep at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. I'm fine. Come on, it's not good for your health. It's not good for your health. Come on, I feel bad, you know, that maybe it's because I'm live streaming. That's why you are awake. So maybe after this video, I read to one more video. A couple more videos. I'm going to sleep. Right? I'm going to end video like around 3 hours and a half. So by the time, hopefully by the time it's going to be like 12 p.m. for you, at least sleep. Scientifically speaking, okay, I'm sorry, I'm a nerd. Okay, I do the research, I read the papers. Okay, I'm sorry. Scientifically speaking, right, the best time for you to sleep is around 10 to 11 p.m. Once again, it's 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. Given that you are an adult human being, if you are teenager, you need to sleep before that. Don't even think about 11 p.m. You need to sleep before 11 p.m. If you are 15 years old, 16 years old, you sleep before that age, that timing, right? You need to sleep at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock. Heck, if you are primary school, or at your place probably called elementary school, right? If you are 12 years old, 11 years old, 10 years old, 9 years old, remember, you need to sleep a lot more, right? 12 hours of sleep, please, 12 hours of sleep. If your school starts at 8 a.m. in the morning or 9 a.m. in the morning, you jolly well sleep at 9 p.m. Okay, 9 p.m. 9 a.m. You need to sleep so that you can grow more. That's one of the reasons why, for me, my height. This is my height. Yes, I remember to eat properly, drink properly, sleep properly, so that you have a proper puberty, you have proper growth. Yes, I'm fine. I listen, I'm fine. I'm worried for you, KV Profits. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just worried. I'm sorry. Anyways, focus. Make a video. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch this video about Peter Pan theory together. One more time. I need to try finish within 7 seconds. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's watch Peter Pan theory together. Let's go.
I don't want to grow up, find a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid.
After 70 years in business, Toys R Us announced yesterday it's closing its doors in America.
Looks like everyone has to grow up sometime, eh, Peter? Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory. Hello. Once again, thank you all so much for coming over to watching this video. This video came out in year 2018, so yeah, let's continue watching. One more thing, I noticed that the words grow up, be mature, these kind of things can be insult. But please remember, please be respectful and welcoming to other people. Be polite. Right? Thank you.
The Never Never Land of the internet. That's
Neverland.
Peter Pan's Never Never Land, not the creepy Michael Jackson Neverland. If you haven't guessed it yet, today we're exploring the world of Disney's favorite narcissistic tween heartthrob, Peter Pan. As you're probably aware, because I say this literally every Disney episode, growing up I loved all the Disney movies, except for Pinocchio. But who didn't want to be Peter Pan? He had the ladies fighting over him constantly, which is kinda inexplicable when you think about what a creeper he actually is in his own movie. Ooh, here's a mystery boy who sneaks into my bedroom at night and talks only about himself.
Give me a piece of that!
But really, the big draw here is obvious. Everyone wants to be able to stay a kid forever and play video games, and avoid the IRS because taxes suck. But you can't be Peter Pan and stay young forever unless you figure out where Neverland is, and also grab some fairy dust and fly there and defeat some pirates. But one thing at a time, people. The geography is clearly the hardest part, until today. That's right. The mission for today is to find the geographic location of Neverland. Sounds absurd, right? But we're actually given plenty of hints throughout the movie and books. Second star to the right and straight on till morning and all that jazz. Even J.M. Barrie's original book describes Peter and the Darling children flying over the ocean to get to Neverland, but he just never specifically says where they choose to land. In the original versions, there's no mention of a star at all. He just says second to the right and then straight on till morning. But I'm not talking hints. I am telling you today that I have definitively located Neverland, to the point that you can actually book your next vacation there and partake in all the swashbuckling and Native American themed racism you want. So sprinkle yourselves with theory dust and think happy thoughts. Next stop is Neverland.
With Deadpool!
To start, we need to remember that Wendy, John, and Michael Darling live in London. When Peter tells them that Neverland is the
second star to the right and straight on till morning,
it seems really vague, but actually the scene gives us plenty of clues to determine which direction they're headed. First, I compared this frame of the movie to constellations that could reasonably appear in the London night sky. While we don't get anything too conclusive, we can actually speculate that these stars here might be Mizar and Elcor.
Well, when in doubt, you can always consult with an astrophysicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah.
Which are in similar positions to what we see in the movie, though in real life they should appear to be part of the Big Dipper constellation. Anyway, there's no need to get out your astrolabes just yet.
Because
the good news is, we actually don't need the exact stars that they're looking at. We can tell which direction the kids are facing just from the landmarks around them. After flying out of the nursery, the kids and Peter land on one of the sides of the Elizabeth Tower clock. The east side, to be specific. Now, I already hear you, but actually, people cracking your knuckles, preparing for a wave of comments saying, but actually, that's not Elizabeth Tower, that's Big Ben.
Big Ben.
But fun fact, Big Ben is the nickname of the bell inside of the Elizabeth Tower. So feel free to annoy all your friends with your pedantic knowledge of London landmarks. Anyway, how can we tell that they're facing east? Well, look at the shot of Peter and the Darlings flying up to the clock. In the bottom right, we can see a statue of a horse rearing up, and that is in fact the statue known as the Boudiccan Rebellion statue, which commemorates an ancient Celtic queen who drove the Romans out of London. Yes, queen! That statue is located to the northeast of the tower, so they're landing on the east side. Going to the right would be them flying south. But we get an even more specific idea of the direction by tracking their flight. They fly over Westminster Bridge facing east, then they make a sharp turn over the bridge, so sharp that the camera has to rotate to follow Peter to head southwest. And that's the direction the camera follows them until they get to Neverland. TLDR, they're going south and west of London, which indicates that they're making a transatlantic flight towards the Americas. So now that we know they're headed to North or South America, we can look at a few other factors to help us narrow down the search for Neverland.
So you must remember, it's not the country America, United States of America, it's the America continent. Can be south, can be north, can be central.
Judging by the map that we see of Neverland, we're looking at an island that's fairly small and features a number of inlets and lagoons. Typically, there are two types of lagoons in the Americas. Coastal lagoons, which are connected to the coastline of a much larger landmass, and atoll lagoons, which are more isolated and formed by coral reefs. By the looks of it, there are no major land masses in the waters around Neverland, so we can conclude that Neverland is an atoll. Now, atolls require coral reefs and tropical waters, so that narrows our search a lot, from the southern tip of Florida, throughout the Caribbean, and down through the coast of Brazil. But geography is just the beginning. We also know a lot about what's on that island, notably crocodiles. Assuming this crocodile didn't escape from the zoo or from Suicide Squad, though who can blame him for wanting to escape that movie, we can pinpoint Neverland's location if we know the species of crocodile. There are only two species of crocodile indigenous to the waters around Latin America, Morlet's crocodile and the American crocodile. While both can take your hand off pretty darn well, Morlet's crocodile is a lot smaller than the American crocodile, at about 10 feet to 16 feet. Considering the fact that Captain Hook fit entirely inside this crocodile's mouth, we're much more likely to be looking at the American crocodile. Additionally, Morlet's crocodile is only found in freshwater environments, while the American crocodile is most often found in saltwater, like you'd find off the coast of an atoll. The only downside here is that the American crocodile is pretty widespread as far as man-eating reptiles go, so we're looking at pretty much the entire Caribbean in our hunt for Neverland. There are also a few other animals that I thought might narrow things down a bit more. J.M. Barrie says that there are sea turtles and flamingos in Neverland, but those are also found all around the Caribbean. The seagull that we see Smee shave doesn't narrow it down. The mermaids, for these I even looked at the habitats of manatees, which, believe it or not, are historically the animal most commonly associated with mermaid sightings, and that's...
So yeah, mermaids are sort of, manatees? Okay, maybe.
Still didn't narrow things down. So at that point, I ran out of animals and wasn't sure if I was looking at a dead end here. But it turns out that the last part of the theory doesn't hinge on the animals in Neverland, it hinges on the people. According to the source material for Peter Pan, Captain Hook was originally a bosun for Blackbeard the pirate. Now, Blackbeard was very busy pirating all over the east coast of America and the Caribbean from 1716 to 1718, which, when you stop and think about it, for carrying the title of the most famous non-fictional pirate in history, is actually not
Captain Jack Sparrow.
That long of a time spent to pillaging and searching for booty. But what Blackbeard lacked in longevity, he made up for in volume. Blackbeard had a ton of instances over that 2-year period stealing wine, burning ships, and blockading ports. So where does Captain Hook fit into all this? Well, in the spring of 1718, Blackbeard captured a few ships in the Gulf of Honduras, right off the Yucatan Peninsula, and added those to his fleet. Specifically, he was off the coast of the Turneffe Atoll, just east of Belize, which, wouldn't you know it, just happens to be a little tropical atoll with lagoons, crocodiles, flamingos, sea turtles, the whole shebang. As a bosun in Blackbeard's fleet, there's actually historical precedent that Captain Hook would have actually graduated up to the role of captain on one of those commandeered ships in the Turneffe Atoll. In the Peter Pan story, it's specifically the Jolly Roger. And then from there, he drops anchor in Neverland and then gives up his life of pillaging in exchange for sword-fighting little boys and then outrunning a single crocodile. Probably would have been better off if he just stayed a bosun. There is, though, one kind of glaring hole in this that we can't really ignore. If we're going the history route, wouldn't we also have to ignore the timelines? I mean, Blackbeard died in 1718, but the Darling family is clearly from the early 1900s, and we even see things in the movie like the statue of Boudica, which wasn't installed until 1902. Well, it turns out we don't have to ignore the timeline. Even that works out under this theory. We know that once you land in Neverland, you never grow old, right? That's kind of the whole shtick of this place. Well, it turns out that Neverland, aka the Turnip Atoll, is the exact historical region believed to contain the Fountain of Youth. The one geographic feature in the entire world that would actually behave and function like a real-life Neverland. Though most of the stories you hear about the Fountain of Youth in history class talk a lot about Ponce de Leon, who mostly looked for it around Florida, the older and much more accurate historical hunt for it was actually performed by Juan de Solis, an earlier Spanish explorer than old Ponce, who spent all of his time looking for the Fountain of Youth in the Gulf of Honduras. Due mostly to really bad Spanish historical record keeping, Ponce de Leon was actually 1,000 miles off the mark of the area that he was looking for, leaving the Fountain of Youth squarely off the coast of Honduras and in exactly the location we predict for Neverland. So there you have it, everyone. Book your spring break for the Turnip Atoll now, because it's the real location for everlasting childhood. Talk about your once-in-a-lifetime vacation. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut.
Wow, that's very interesting. But, well, that's around Central America continent, right? I'm not too sure about it, but thank you so much for watching this video together with me. I hope that you find this video very interesting and very unique to watch. Quite special, isn't it? Well, there's a bit of entertainment and enjoyable factor into it, and a lot of educational stuff. If you do like this video, please remember to sorry, one more time. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel. I sincerely appreciate all the support and encouragement for my work. They're uplifting and very motivating for me. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in my next video. Bye. But hey, that's just a theory, a film theory, and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye. Please do remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you.
Marketing campaign for the whole market. Mark for Emma. Marketing campaign for Deadpool 2 has been all about Deadpool versus Cable, a story that the fans were craving.
To be honest, I go sleep at 1 AM or 2 PM. I'm fine. I'm listening. Listen, I'm fine. Okay. Bye, I guess. KB Profits, thank you so much. Thank you. Hope to see you in my next live stream. Thank you so much. Next is hello, where's my Hi everyone, it's me, and today, Deadpool! Drrr. Hello everyone! Drrr. One more time. Hello everyone, it's me, and today, Deadpool! Let's learn the art of trolling! Together! One more time. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's Hello everyone, it's me, Deadpool. Let's learn the art of trolling together. Let's go.
You know, the whole marketing campaign for Deadpool 2 has been all about Deadpool versus Cable, a story that the fans were craving. Well, what if you walked into the movie, and sure, the first 10 minutes were all this epic duel of Cable fighting Deadpool, but then all of a sudden they start pulling back the cameras, and it's just the characters filming that footage specifically for the trailer. They then wrap the shoot, Deadpool pats the actor playing Cable on the back, turns to the audience, says, "Gotcha!" And the movie was then actually about something completely different. It would be an entire marketing campaign selling you on a matchup that is completely falsified. It would be one of the greatest movie pranks of all time. And honestly, it would make it the most epic Deadpool troll possible. And it would still be poking fun at the movie industry where scenes are manufactured specifically for trailers just to mislead audiences. Long story short, that's my fantasy choice for what happens in Deadpool 2. It's not gonna happen, but feel free to use it for your third installment, Mr. Pool. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory. Film Theory, yeah. Hello.
Where the theories are usually wrong, but heck, it's fun to try. I'm like the YouTube equivalent of a participation trophy. So anyway, if you're still shook from Infinity War, well then snap out of it. Get it? Snap out of it. Because it's time for Deadpool.
No, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm sorry.
Despite the huge amount of attention poured on Infinity War over the last couple weeks, Deadpool isn't one that's gonna be left in the dust. I'm not feeling too good, Cable. I'm not ready to go. Don't let me go. But today, I'm not focused on the merc with the mouth. Instead, I want to focus on a member of his team. One character in particular, a character...
Don't you change the scene? Don't you change the scene?
...by the name of Peter W.
I don't know much about this Cable fella, but I guarantee he hasn't killed as many people as Melanoma has.
Introduced in the final trailer for Deadpool 2, this powerless average Joe has quickly stolen the hearts of many of the internet. But I'm here today to tell ya, there's more to Peter than meets the eye.
With type 1 and type 2 diabetes as a joke. I was like, wow, something that is super serious, something that is like super real can be treated as a joke is like properly as a joke. It's just very awesome, very creative actually.
I mean, sure, he might seem quiet and unassuming, but if I'm reading the situation right, Peter holds a secret that we're gonna see play out before the end of Deadpool 2.
Or maybe, just maybe, you are thinking about it too much. You are thinking way too much.
So in the words of the movie's trailer, don't call it a comeback! Because, seriously, I never left in the first place. The YouTube algorithm literally will not let me stop making videos. Now, if you haven't been following the trailers or you somehow haven't gone to the theaters in the last 4 months, let me bring you up to speed. It all started...
You can't go to theaters because of the global pandemic right now, so...
Back in February with the Be Deadpool 2nd campaign, in which the Deadpool Twitter account, which famously only followed Hello Kitty, announced that it would now be following a second random account that retweeted the hashtag BeDeadpool2nd. And despite everyone expecting a Golden Girls or Wolverine follow back, the winner did indeed seem to be an account that came out of nowhere. On March 24th, Deadpool started to follow at PeterW_1974. And yet, this was far from a random choice or simply just a contest winner. Peter W wasn't just an ordinary Twitter account, but rather a comedian named Rob Delaney acting in character. It's a strange move, but still very Deadpool. Then, just a few weeks ago, it all started to come together when we finally got a good look at who Peter W is in action in the movie's final trailer.
Last but not least,
Peter,
Any power you want to tell us about?
I don't have one. I just saw the ad.
And honestly, this shouldn't have been a surprise to anyone. We should have seen it coming. Back in trailer 1, we actually see a brief clip of 2 headshots. Someone named Bedlam, and this other guy named Peter. So is Peter W in this movie as just some random guy there for the lulz like Dopinder in the last movie?
Yes, you're correct. That is correct. Yes, that is correct.
Don't be so quick to judge.
Yeah. Come on, you got it correct already. You can just end the video at 3 minutes.
Clues seem to be lining up that Peter W here may actually have a more important role than simply comic relief. The Deadpool trailers have been pretty darn direct in revealing that this is a movie about the X-Force.
It will be known as X-Force.
Isn't that a little derivative?
You're absolutely right.
There's Domino, who has the ability to manipulate
X-Men, X-Force,
manipulate probability. Shatterstar, Pennywise over here plays the acid-spitting Zeitgeist, and Bedlam, the guy with the headshot that we saw earlier, an obscure mutant who can mess with electrical equipment as well as the brain's neural field. Which leaves us with Peter. Sorry, Peter W to be specific. That last letter there might not seem all that important to emphasize until you consider that one of the X-Force's most famous leaders is a mutant by the name of Peter Wisdom.
Or maybe this is just to troll with the Theorists, aka MadPads. That means they're trolling MadPads. Particularly you. It's a very specific bullet.
Peter W. Now, if you don't have the kind of religious devotion to Nightcrawler that, well, Nightcrawler has with religion, you can be forgiven for missing the series of comics usually centering around Captain Britain and his cohort. You heard that right, Captain Britain, who has the power to steep tea. He's like Captain America, but replacing the stars and stripes with, well, just stripes, I guess. First introduced on page 1 of Excalibur Volume 1, Issue 86, Peter Wisdom starts his career as a hitman for MI6, the secret intelligence service for the United Kingdom. He eventually quits, has a run-in with Magneto, and this is where Peter W and the new Deadpool movie first intersect. You see, Peter Wisdom becomes the leader of X-Force and starts wearing an eye patch because it makes him look cool, which I gotta say opens the door for Deadpool to make a lot of jokes at the expense of another certain eye-patched wearing team leader. But a simple name and a team aren't our only connections here. In the comic source material, Peter was British, which may not be the obvious case for Deadpool 2's Peter W, but on Twitter, @PeterW_1974 is following a primary school in Henley-on-Thames, which, if the name doesn't give it away, ain't Brooklyn. It's definitely an odd detail for a Twitter profile that's dedicated to this one single character.
You think about it, the creative team must have thought of so much ways to troll MadPads, particularly him.
Furthermore, in an in-character interview with the website Birth Movies Death, Peter mentions that his father was a detective, which, wouldn't you know it, is also true of Peter Wisdom's father in the comics, who just so happened to work for Scotland Yard. There are also some more meta clues that Peter in the trailers might actually be Peter Wisdom. If we look at the trailers, it's clear that this kid is the focal point of the new movie, a kid that Deadpool calls Russell. This makes him almost definitely Russell Collins, aka Fire Fist, a powerful mutant with the ability to not just control fire like Pyro,
I can only manipulate the fire, I can't create it.
but to summon fire out of nothing. So what does Russell have to do with Peter Wisdom? Well, nothing directly, but Pete Wisdom's mutant power might make him a good counterbalance. You see, Pete Wisdom's most famous mutant ability is his hot knives, conjuring fiery blades at his fingertips to serve as knives or projectiles. He's like a living, breathing 1,000-degree knife challenge, but using those hot knives
1,000 degrees knife challenge. Yeah.
Knives requires that he also has a source of energy. In the comics, Peter summons energy from the sun, but he also is able to absorb power and heat from attacks and explosions. So if there were an ideal X-Force member to wrangle an out-of-control firebug like Russell, someone like Peter who could absorb their raging energy might be the perfect person to do it, and also someone who doesn't realize they can do it until, say, midway through the movie. Now, if you're a loyal theorist, you know that right now is the best part of the episode. Now's the part where I pull out the evidence that I've been hiding away to really drive home the connection between these two tenuously linked characters in order to totally blow your mind.
Or maybe plot twists. You are thinking about it too much. It's just a troll to you.
So get ready, here it comes. There is nothing. Seriously, I was looking all over the place for more connections, pouring through old Excalibur and X-Force comics looking to link Peter Wisdom to this incredible Twitter account, but there's not a whole lot else there. There's just a lot of things that don't quite add up. You see, the Peter Wisdom from the comics is a cynical chain smoker with a hard edge and flexible morals. If you read through all his Twitter posts, Peter W. IRL is just a mild-mannered beekeeper who's strongly against using drugs. He hates swearing and is easily fooled by basic Photoshop skills.
Wow. Anyways, do you know that just now the words, it says 一刀两断. That means one knife, two parts. Think about it. One knife, two parts.
When Peter Wisdom in the comics joins the Excalibur team, he's
actually one blade, two parts.
Swing and single and dedicates a lot of his time to having a fling with Kitty Pryde, Shadowcat, while Peter W. claims to be happily married to a woman named Susan who, if you read between the lines in the tweets, appears to be cheating on him. That's just a mini theory though. Sure, in the Ultimate Comics universe, Peter Wisdom's power is derived from a serum, much like Deadpool's power from the first movie, so maybe that's where things are headed there, but honestly, Peter W. is fairly different in almost every single way, which makes me think that something is clearly wrong here. And that's when it hit me. Peter W. is a nobody with no special powers. He is exactly what the trailer is selling him as because Deadpool is playing a much bigger joke and it's on us, the theorists of the internet. Deadpool execs know exactly how much trailers get extensively scanned and analyzed these days by rabid fanboys looking to expose the hidden secrets before the movie gets released. Just look at my nearly 16-minute long video from just a few weeks ago about the missing Infinity Stone that spanned dozens of movies and TV shows and trailers. And
it was just a troll. It was just a plot twist.
Ultimately, it amounted to nothing when Infinity War came out. Same with my Last Jedi predictions. Same thing for most of our prediction theories, quite honestly. What better meta Deadpool joke is there in 2018 than to dangle a big juicy question mark in front of our faces? Like some average Joe who just so happens to share a letter and a name with a character in a similar story as the comics that the directors are pulling from, and then just Last Jedi it away. Peter's Twitter account here is just a litany of hidden comics jokes. Peter W_1974. Well, 1974 is the first year Wolverine graced the pages of a Marvel comic, in just another reference to Deadpool's best frenemy forever. One of his pinned tweets was of Deadpool riding a tiger with wings, which is just a reference to the classic rainbow Deadpool meme. Peter's wife Susan seems to be cheating on her husband with her personal trainer named Gus, who may or may not be a reference to minor X-Men character Gus Grimm. The fact that the team working on this movie has given out enough information to know it's Peter W, but haven't actually revealed his full name when they've exposed pretty much every other character, it's...
Oh my gosh, think about it. MatPat actually knows that he's being trolled on. That's very cute, you know. That's very cute. You know, you are trying to troll me, and I know that you are trying to troll me. I know you know that. I know that you know.
Almost as if Deadpool is inviting us to fall into his trap, to make our own theory. Go ahead and let Peter W. reflect whatever you want him to be, because when he ultimately ends up being nobody, like we told you in the trailer, it'll make it all the funnier. Peter W. is just an absolutely average human being with nothing special to offer the team outside of his unending optimism. It's the ultimate Deadpool joke, purposely leading us in one direction through the trailers and other online marketing tools, only to pull the rug out from under us for the laughs later. Knowing how Deadpool tends to operate, Peter's likely to get himself horrifically killed in the first real dangerous situation he comes across, at which point I wouldn't be so surprised if Deadpool turned to the camera and said, "Hope that didn't ruin your fan theory." Well, sorry, Deadpool, I hope I didn't just ruin your punchline. Actually, I kinda hope it did, because that would mean that one of these prediction theories was actually right for a change. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And do me a favor and actually send this video to @PeterW_1974 on Twitter. Make sure you include me in that tweet, @MattPatGT. Peter W. has apparently done interviews in the past, so maybe he'll respond or react to this theory sometime before the release of the movie, which would be incredible. So if you could raise this to his attention, that would be amazing. Make sure you hit that subscribe button that you see on screen right now, so that way if he does respond, you'll be the first to know if we do feature it on the channel. And heck, if you've missed my last Deadpool episodes, well then click the boxes you see on screen. The one to the left is how Deadpool is secretly Ernest Hemingway, which is undoubtedly one of my most absurd theories of all time, and the one to the right is how you could kill Deadpool. Should be a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for being so supportive and positive. Thank you so much for your encouragement, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Thank you, sincere gratitude and appreciation towards everyone. I hope that you find yourself very entertained and enjoy watching this video together with me. And I hope to see you in my next video. If you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you think about. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, see the video of the channel, and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much, and I hope to see you in my next video. But hey, that's just theory, a film theory, and cut. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, please remember to subscribe. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I messed up so badly the outro. I messed the outro so badly. One more video.
Spoilers for Infinity War incoming. Spoilers for Infinity War incoming.
Let's go. Hello everyone, it's me, and today Avengers Infinity War. Hello everyone, it's me, Mad Pet. Avengers Infinity War. Hello everyone, it's me, and today Avengers Infinity War. Hello everyone, it's me, Avengers Infinity War. Hello everyone, it's me, Avengers Infinity War. Mad Pet explains why Thanos was correct. Let's go.
Warning! Spoilers for Infinity War incoming.
Spoilers ahead, I'm sorry.
Look at all the YouTube channels just starving for clicks. Too many channels to watch them all, but to snuff them all out at once, instantly, that is a mercy. With a snap of my fingers, half of all YouTube channels will disappear. At last, I can sit contentedly and watch as... what's going on? Oh no! No! They all had second channels! Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, where...
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hello!
Let's be honest here for a second, a top YouTube channel getting dusted overnight was probably the single best way to get people reinterested when they were just starting to get bored of the YouTuber. You know what wasn't boring though? Infinity War. I gotta be honest, it was so much better than I expected. It was such a well-balanced movie. The perfect mix of action, humor, and drama. All that, and they crammed 60 characters in without making it feel rushed or bloated. It was so good, it had to have had Superman wedding his tidy whities, or tidy reddies, I suppose. But perhaps most impressive of all was Thanos, easily one of Marvel's best villains, nay, best characters. For being this big bad mad titan, he was surprisingly relatable and sympathetic. Well, as much as he can be sympathetic and relatable for someone looking to wipe out half the population of the galaxy. If you're still with us but haven't seen the movie yet because all the theaters are still sold out, let me catch you up. Thanos, the giant purple, blue, pink. Pink. Fine. Thanos, the Rainbow Titan, watched as his planet became overpopulated and started to run out of basic resources. While he suggested a random culling of half his planet's population, the other Titans found this suggestion kinda mean, so they ignored it. Eventually, the planet couldn't find a solution and destroyed itself in the process, leaving Thanos with the universe's biggest case of I told you so. So to prevent other planets from experiencing the same fate, Big Papa Thanos made it his life's work to randomly eliminate half the life of the universe. He mentions that he's done it once before on Gamora's home planet of Zen, and
bloodlust killing.
That it worked out pretty well. Since I don't have the clip from the movie, since it's still in theaters to prove it, here's a dramatic recreation of that scene.
I was a child when you took me.
Stephanie and that.
Say.
That's your Thanos. It sounds like the Grinch.
I've been smoking a lot lately, okay? I saved you. What? What's wrong with my Thanos? What do you want my Thanos? Here, do you want me to be Gamora and you be Thanos? Here, let's do it that way then. I was a child when you took me.
I saved you.
No, we were happy on my home planet.
Going to bed hungry? Scrounging for scraps? Your planet was on the brink of collapse. I was the one who stopped that. You know.
Yes, correct. You know, there's something called Eternals. There's Celestials inside the planets.
But what's happened since then? The children born know nothing but full bellies and clear skies. It's a paradise.
Because you murdered half the planet.
A small price to pay for salvation.
You're insane!
Finish!
Earth is next on his hit list. At the end of...
Oh my gosh, that is just very cute and very adorable for this couple. Let me say a round of applause. A round of applause. Here's 2 rounds. That's very cute.
Infinity War, we actually see Thanos succeed. Though, of course, that random culling process just so happens to specifically target those characters whose contracts aren't about to expire. But you know what? We're gonna give Thanos the benefit of the doubt here and assume that he isn't secretly working for some dark secret overlord. But here's the...
Oh my gosh! Celestials. Celestials.
thing. For as absolutely insane as Thanos' plan sounds, and for as much as we as an audience don't believe what he's saying about the state of Gamora's homeworld, if you stop and look at the economics, statistics, and historical precedents, Thanos may actually be right. You heard that correctly. When you run the numbers, it turns out that Thanos the Mad Titan may not be as mad as you might think.
He's doing this for multiple different reasons, and one of the reasons is being discussed right now.
First, let's talk population growth, since that's the underlying driver of all the economics here. There are two main population growth models that exist today, the exponential growth model and the logistic growth model. The exponential model basically says that as the population grows, the rate at which it grows will continue to increase and get faster.
But unfortunately, real life doesn't work out that way, in which we planned out. Having said that, because as people get more get more used to city life, right, they tend not to have a partner, and even if they find a partner, they tend to find lesser offsprings involved, because in the city-based, we get used to city-based lifestyle instead.
Basically doubling every generation.
Case in point, I want to find a partner, I want to find a girlfriend, I want to find a wife. I do not have a girlfriend right now.
This kinda makes sense, right? If I have 2 kids and each one of those 2 kids have 2 kids, now there's 4. Those 4 kids each themselves have 2 kids, and now there's 8. Each generation doubles. Or in science class, how you learned that one bacteria dividing every 20 minutes could produce 5,000 billion bacteria in just one day.
But you fail to recognize that humans are complex creatures with different mentalities involved.
Then you leave class and you never touch a doorknob again. But you can see that for humans, this doesn't really work. We all have different numbers of kids, or no kids, or we live in a place in the world where it's illegal to have more than 1 kid. As a result, there's the logistic population model, where population growth begins slowing at a certain point, reaching some type of upper limit called the carrying capacity. Usually, this is the result of environmental factors. In the case of bacteria, it might be the walls of the petri dish. You just run out of room. And for a lot of demographers, the people who study human populations, they believe we have a carrying capacity too, specifically around 11 to 12 billion people. Now, that sounds like it's a lot, but remember, we're at 7.3 billion people right now, so we're actually not that far away. The idea that we would slowly approach the carrying capacity of Earth was first posited by 18th century demographer Thomas Malthus. If you want to learn more about Malthus and the philosophy of Thanos, watch the musical Urinetown. Anyone? Anyone? No? No one's interested in a delightful musical romp through a world where you have to pay to pee? Fine! Then watch the Wisecrack channel, who did an excellent video on that very topic that you could watch right here after the theory's over. Don't worry, I'll link to it during the end screen so you won't forget to watch it. The TLDR of Malthus's theory, or Malthusianism, is that, quote, the power of population is indefinitely greater than the power in the earth to produce subsistence for man. Or, as Thanos put it,
it's simple calculus. This universe has finite resources. Finite. If life is left unchecked, life will cease to exist. It needs correcting.
But Thanos factored in something that Malthus didn't, and that is carrying capacity. With humans, our carrying capacity of 11 to 12 billion comes less from the restrictions of the environment and more from our own economic behavior. The global birth rate has been dropping since the UN started keeping track of it back in the 1950s, falling from 37.2 births per 1,000 people in 1950 to 1955 to 19.4 births per 1,000 people as recently as 2010 to 2015.
And it's getting even worse and worse and worse, dropping further and further and further and further. Well, that's unfortunate. Human beings need to... A huge factor comes into play when economical freedom and lifestyle freedom.
That is a huge difference, and you can't blame declining resources,
monetary freedom and lifestyle freedom,
for it, since over the same period, the gross world product increased over 19 times, from about 4 trillion to about 77 trillion. So what's the problem here? Well, it's infant mortality, or should I say lack thereof. It may seem strange that more babies living would actually cause a population to decrease, but here's the thing. Your great-great-grandparents lived in a much rougher world than we do. They lived at a time where, unfortunately, it was just very unusual for all your your children to live into maturity. Each child that did live, however, could help you work your land or manage your home when it was unlikely that you could afford to hire much labor on your own. You could also marry your children off for dowries or political capital. And because of all of this, it was socially advantageous to have as many children as possible. However, nowadays, there are just far fewer economic advantages to having kids, which is admittedly a terrific thing for me to be saying when my wife is pregnant. But seriously, it's true. There aren't dowries anymore. If anything, your child is likely to cost you money on the wedding and the education, and while they live in your basement looking for a job. And speaking of that, time is another key factor here, as the amount of time that we spend raising each child has historically trended upwards. If your medieval father didn't show up to your Pony League jousting tournament because he was too busy fighting the Crusades or whipping the serfdom into shape, literally and figuratively, well, that was just expected. But if your modern-day father here in 2018 misses just one Little League baseball game because of his work, you're gonna get yourself a Lifetime Movie of the Week. He was so neglected as a child. We can actually...
You see, this kind of comparison is just inaccurate without context. Different times of the different human era involved.
See this playing out on the world stage today, where many of the most
like for example, there's a saying, 戚戚夫在 in Japan.
Economically developed countries' populations are stalling. Japan had record low numbers of children at just around 15 million this year, and in Europe,
it's dropping significantly more.
Europe, the average couple
less.
Couple only has 1.6 children. That's not even enough to replace the existing generation. Collectively, this means that the human population is no longer growing exponentially like many of the fear-mongering news outlets proclaim. In fact, since 1960, we've had absolutely zero exponential growth whatsoever.
Because you must understand that the cost of living just increased significantly. I want to have children, I want to have multiple children, but the cost of living. Which female will want to reproduce with me and suffer with me in this current day and age where they can always find a rich boyfriend? I'm poor, I don't have money, I can work hard. It's literally starting from a bottom out here. When I'm poor, they will not come. When I'm rich, they'll come over. But then I'm old. I will not be wanting to have multiple different girlfriends. I want to have one wife. I want to have one wife that will be there for me on my deathbed. But then I'm rich but no time. Right now I got a lot of time but no money. Now that's the irony in which we are having right now. Right now I'm suffering right now.
We've had an absolutely linear growth, and this is the crux of Thanos' plan. You see, if the human population were still growing exponentially, well then Thanos' plan would have only set the world's population back by a single generation, or about 25 years. But because our birth rate is dropping and our population growth is linear, it's a good indicator that we've moved past the midpoint of this logistic curve, known as the point of maximum growth. What that means is that humanity is done growing at this accelerated rate, and instead we're moving towards a flat, no-growth population. In short, it doesn't really matter how many people live on Earth as long as we're able to sustain our current lifestyle. So if you cut the population in half at this period in time, you effectively also cut the maximum population in half, meaning that Thanos' plan would actually have a permanent impact. So for a guy who looks like a linebacker who's taken one too many hits to the face, he's actually really thought this out.
Yes, and also, let me say this very clear. Openness is good, but openness requires education. If you are openness about something without being educated, without knowing what you're talking about appropriately, you are just being irresponsible. You are just being more of a harm, being more of a negative than a positive for society.
On top of all this, in Thanos' model, the scientific and cultural advances that have been made aren't removed from the world, and so the world, in theory, continues forward at about the same rate of advancement, just with a carrying capacity of 6 billion instead of about 11 billion. 6 billion, by the way, fewer people than we have on Earth today. Honestly, even though I was researching this, I couldn't believe it. I was a bit skeptical, so I kept digging. You see, Thanos employs basic laws of supply and demand to say that when half the demand is removed, by removing half the population, prices should plummet. This seemed to me like it was a bit of an oversimplification, but believe it or not, historical evidence supports Thanos in this too. Now, there's obviously no real-world example where half the population literally disappeared in a snap, but we do have a very well-documented situation where about a third of Europe died in a matter of a few years, the Black Death.
The Black Death, the plague.
There are some very interesting things that happened to the European economy as a result of the Black Death that weirdly made some European lives better. And I can already hear the vitriol in the comments. Let me make it clear, no one here is saying, yay, Black Death, woo, what a great idea.
This video really touched close to heart, especially right now when we are experiencing a global pandemic right now. From the year 2020, 2021, heck, even the year 2022, which is coming up soon. A global pandemic right now. That's why I can really feel this impact of this video.
This is all in the name of social science and Marvel movies. This economic history article on the Black Death notes that the general wages rose by 40% in the years following the Black Death, while at the same time, rents for property actually plummeted, since there were fewer people to occupy houses or work land. This meant that the demand for houses fell, and as a result of falling demand, the price of homes followed suit. Since people needed to farm less land to feed fewer people, land that was once needed for crops before was suddenly diversified into ranching, increasing the supply of manure and meat, which in turn increased the output of the land that existed and even further drove down food costs. Food prices dropped about 15% on the whole in the years immediately after the plague. So lower food costs, lower housing costs, and higher wages. The people that were left kinda benefited from all of that death. Thanos in his twisted brain could conceivably call that a paradise, where those who remained thrived. Who knows? Maybe in this situation a millennial would actually be able to afford a house. So are we looking at a potentially real victory here under Thanos' rule? Well, it's kinda hard to know for sure, because when it comes to economics, there are all sorts of dominoes knocked down the line that can cause a massive amount of blowback. With a huge global crisis like Thanos' snap and falling prices, it changes the picture for a lot of these same issues. For instance, with the costs of having a kid much lower and a huge depopulation of Earth, people would likely feel a pressure to have more kids than they currently do, potentially pushing the carrying capacity higher than where it currently is as we jumpstart our growth rates again. China, now less concerned with overpopulation, would start to loosen their population control laws, as well as many of the other environmental laws that may be helping to slow the effects of things like global warming today. And the rest of the world would probably follow suit. Also, interestingly enough, Earth would most likely close off its doors, its atmosphere, spaceport things. Basically, it wouldn't let other aliens in, because, you know, the first few aliens to make it to Earth all tried to kill us. That sort of xenophobia would likely set Earth back in terms of becoming culturally integrated into the rest of the galaxy. Too bad you can't build a wall around an entire planet. Actually, I think you can. Called a force field. Economic solutions aren't a snap, literally or figuratively. The fun thing about this episode is that it was a fun thought experiment. It doesn't matter, it was simply a test of math and statistics, but at the end of the day, human life is priceless. Killing off half a population is never a solution. Plus, let's all face it, there's no denying that Thanos is definitively a mad titan, because guess what? There is an easy solution here. You just snap your fingers and double everything. Or why stop there? You make it infinite. Seriously, Thanos, you have yourself a gauntlet of unstoppable power. Think outside the box.
But the moment he doubles it, right, the Eternal Tiamu will have horizons destroy the entire planet Earth. So yeah, we have to thank Thanos for it.
But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And remember that wisecrack video I mentioned midway through the episode? Boom! There it is on screen. I love the guys over at Wisecrack, and if you enjoy these sorts of pop culture thought experiments, well then you're gonna love their channel. This is their assessment of the philosophy of Thanos, which is insanely interesting. So honestly, do yourselves a favor. If you enjoyed this video, which obviously you did, you made it to the very end of it, click the button you see on screen screen right now, give it a watch, learn something new, and tell them that MatPat sent ya. Give the video a watch. If you enjoy it, give them a subscribe. They're one of the most deserving channels on YouTube, producing some of the smartest content out there, at a time when honestly the algorithm makes it really hard to do smart educational content, so show them some love, and that's about it. In case you missed it, here's my prediction theory on Deadpool, which we'll see if it comes true in the next couple days, and I will see you all next Tuesday.
Thank you so much for watching this video. This video it's a thought experiment in which it really relates to me a lot. Like, I'm going through this right now. And yeah, maybe a lot of people from around my age is experiencing this right now. So yeah, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down below if you have any share with us. Thank you so much, and yeah, last but not least, I really want to find a partner in life that I can be with, you know, have multiple different children. It's not 2, 3, I want to have 6 different children. Case in point, I want to have multiple different children so that at the very least I can spread a bigger family, you know, have a big family. I've seen so much examples of families only have 1 or 2 children in which the children suffer. They have no one to talk to. 1 or 2 children, they have no one to talk to. Alright? Why not 4 then? Why not 3, why not 4? I can go with 3, I can go with 4, but my goal is to go to 6. If my goal is 6 children and my partner agrees with me, life happens, sometimes it will not reach 6, sometimes it will reach 5, 4, 3, but that's the thing, our goal is 6, it can only go down. But if your goal is 3, it can only go down from 3. That means your only option is 1, 2, or 3. Right? The chances of you only having 1 child is 33%. But if I was to go for 6 child, right, the chances of you only having 1 child drop significantly more, because you and your partner, me and my partner, have already agreed that we want to have multiple different children. Even though we know that we will suffer for it. For short term in life, we will suffer for the first 5, for the first 10, for the first 15, first 10 years, 12 years, 15 years of our lifetime, we will suffer in our mid ages. When we reach maybe in our 40s, maybe things will get better. The case in point, this sort of suffering, how many children, how many females living in the city society can accept it? How many? Not a lot. Not a lot. And even if they do, they will find rich individuals. I know of my bros who want multiple children. Males like me, we want to have multiple of different offsprings. But you want to ask a female that have been living a princess life in the city society to just not experience it for the next few years, it's a hard bargain for them to accept it. Well, that's just unfortunate. Anyways, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, comment down below if you like, share with us, not to the follow channel. See, appreciate all the support encouragement for me. It's very motivating and uplifting. Thank you so much. I hope to see you in the next video. But hey, that's just Theory, Film Theory. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Yeah. One last video before I end, because I know the next video is 18 minutes long. 18 minutes, 14 minutes, 13 minutes, 13 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay, so this is so after this video, I'm going to rest. Hello everyone, it's me, and today let's find the golden ticket together. Let's go. Wow, it's scary with the music, with the epic music. Ooh.
Warning! This episode of Film Theory is not safe for work. Oh wait, you thought I meant it was full of naked people or violence or heavy swearing, right? No. I mean, today we're talking about Willy Wonka and his chocolate factory. And no, when I say chocolate factory, that's not meant to be some kind of weird innuendo. Get your minds out of the gutter, people.
Bad, the film theory.
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory!
Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory! Hey! Hello! Love the music, you know.
Your golden ticket to a ruined childhood. Today's video hits really close to home for me because we're talking about one of my all-time favorite childhood films, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Sure, as a kid, I thought Wonka's factory was the most fanciful, fantastic place to visit ever. I mean, there are mushrooms where you can scoop out whipped cream and eat it in the main building. Knock down some of the candies from that tree, nom nom nom. But now that I'm an adult and have people who work for me, I see it as the horrendously unsafe sweatshop that it is. So unsafe, in fact, that it would be literally illegal to produce a single bar of chocolate out of there. So get ready to melt down those childhood dreams and send them down the chocolatey river of disappointment, because not only does Mr. William Wonka have one of the most illegal factories on the entire planet, but what's worse, I can prove to you that he actually knows it.
There's no earthly way of knowing.
Oh, yes there is, Wonka. You've been pulling the wool over our eyes for far too long, my friend, and today I'm exposing the grand conspiracy of your golden ticket giveaway like the nougaty inside of a scrumdiddlyumptious bar. So, loyal theorists, get ready to come with me, and you'll be in a world of OSHA violations. In case you're not up to speed with the super saccharine sweatshop that is Wonka's Chocolate Factory, here's the quick rundown. Eccentric candy maker genius Willy Wonka runs a chocolate factory with SpaceX levels of security.
Nobody ever goes in. Nobody ever comes out.
To protect his candy-making secrets from his sticky-fingered competitors who, for some reason, can't seem to figure out that all you need to do is mix cocoa powder together with butter, sugar, and vanilla. I mean, seriously, Slugworth, there just aren't that many ingredients in chocolate. Maybe sprinkle in some nuts or toffee if you're feeling dangerous. In both versions of the movie, the modern Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, as well as the vastly superior original version, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, which is the one I'm going to be focused on for this theory, Wonka opens his doors up to 5 lucky kids who've begged, borrowed, and stolen to get their hands on one of his 5 golden tickets. As they tour the factory, we as the movie-going audience get a first-hand look at the unbelievable wonders and hazards that Wonka has littered everywhere.
I really like it that he just said, wow, all these wonders and hazards.
These aren't just some little issues that make life around the factory inconvenient. These are Occupational Safety and Health Administration violations, or OSHA violations. They're illegal, they're life-threatening, and they are everywhere. And here's the interesting thing about OSHA violations. They don't just come with a little finger wag and a couple of demerits on your business owner report card. They come with fines, huge fines.
Closing company kind of fines.
And enough of them will totally be able to shut down your business for good. So let's figure out how big of a legal tab that Willy Wonka has racked up for himself.
The suspense is terrible. He's gonna go this time. I hope it'll last.
The first violations seem pretty small, but it'll give you a sense of what real-world business owners face when they're trying to create a safe work environment for their employees. See if you can spot it in this clip.
Better press on.
Hey, the room is getting smaller.
No, it's not. He's getting bigger.
Did you catch that one?
Inside this room, all of my dreams become realities.
You know what else is going to become a reality for you? A big whopping fine. Code of Regulations 29, Part 1910, Subpart E, Point 37I. OSHA says that all ceilings must be 7 foot 6 inches or higher. This is specifically for fire safety, in the event that the exit needs to be used as an emergency exit. But just think, this is where we are starting. If Wonka is getting a fine for the height of a measly hallway, then you know that old Willy is in for a long night. Or a long episode of Film Theory. Next, the chocolate room, the centerpiece of my childhood dreams, and my current dreams, and the horrific nightmares of an OSHA agent. In this scene, you'll see that Veruca Salt cuts herself on a rock in the room. Well, it turns out that that was real blood, and that the actress who played her, Julie Dawn Cole, still has a scar from that injury on set, which she got from one of the jagged rocks that were used as props in the set. A workplace injury in the movies, as well as a workplace injury in the factory. That's fine number 2. There are a few other pedantic things in here to find, including the stairs that Oompa Loompas walk down. Those are under the 22-inch minimum width required by building codes, and they don't have a vertical banister, so that's fines number 3 and 4. But okay, I hear ya. A little cut, a little banister, a little hallway, come on! That sort of stuff could be fixed in a day, so who cares? Well, first off, who should care is the business owner, because all those things may be little to you, but they result in big fines. Thousands of dollars for small infractions like that, and we're only just beginning. Let's get to the big ones, like the chocolate river. First, you have food running through an open-air factory. That is a huge strike there. The workers around it also aren't wearing any protective or sterile clothing, and literally anyone who touches the chocolate contaminates the entire supply, as Augustus so kindly demonstrates for us.
Don't do that, you're contaminating my entire river.
Contaminating the entire river, Wonka says, as he doesn't shut his factory down to clean out the sweaty child floating in the chocolate. So here we have no guardrails, no protective clothing, working with contaminated food, and failing to clean up those contaminations. All of these are OSHA violations for basic safety, with the contamination issue getting some nice extra scrutiny from the Food and Drug Administration. And as a fun fact, if Augustus's germ-ridden body did in fact make someone sick from a chocolate bar on the other end, Wonka would be responsible for fines of around $350,000 at the time of the movie release, or about $1.5 million in today's terms, per person made sick.
Food poisoning.
Since we have no way of knowing the fallout from Augustus's chocolate dip, we can't really count these, but they would literally be enough to put the factory out of business if they happen to ship those contaminated chocolate bars out. That being said, we're still not done with the violations that we can count in this room, which include the fact that once someone actually falls into the chocolate river, they get suctioned up into a huge unfiltered pipe.
He's had it now, the suction's got him.
Leading to them possibly drowning and suffocating. And if you survive all of that, there's still a good chance that you get boiled alive.
Look sharp, or her little boy's liable to get poured into the boiler.
So strike for the unfiltered pipe, and additional strike for no safety protocol.
And someone dying, a child dying.
Moving further into the movie, we survive a traumatizing boat ride, which is shockingly one of the safest things in this entire movie. This is somehow actually okay. But don't worry, we're about to hit Wonka's secret inventing room, the place where candy and lawsuits get made. First of all those steaming vats are violations of OSHA's rules around hot pipes in the workplace. Reference number 1910.261 subpoint K11, quote, all exposed steam and hot water pipes within 7 feet of the floor shall be covered with an insulating material, or guarded. And you guessed it, each vat or pipe counts as a separate violation. So, let's see here. We have 8 of those. Oh, and no guardrails again. You think you're slick, Willy? This is just laziness. Oh, and there are live bees in this room. So, yeah, that counts too. And last up, there also seems to be a complete lack of safety equipment anywhere. Unless, of course, you count the Oompa Loompa fabric Mickey Mouse style gloves.
Shouldn't you be wearing rubber gloves? You'll have the health inspectors after you know that, don't you?
Right you are, Mr. Salt. You would have made a good film theorist. OSHA Code 1910.132A requires that, quote, protective equipment including personal protective equipment for eyes, face, head, and extremities is provided, used, and maintained in any situation involving food or chemicals. And we know plenty of chemicals being used in this room are
a lot of food and a lot of chemicals in the movie.
Well, to put it lightly, hazardous.
Violet, you're turning violet, Violet!
The next workplace hazard is in the fizzy lifting drink room, where Charlie and Grandpa Joe float away and almost get themselves chopped to bits by the fan blades at the top of the room.
Stay away from it, Charlie, it'll chop us to bits!
Like he just said. Now, here's the thing. A fan at the top of a room this tall isn't a violation, but OSHA would still be able to book Wonka for negligence in making the room with the deadly ceiling the same room with the soda that makes you float. If you read the book the movie's based on, Wonka even mentions that a few Oompa Loompas that they didn't tie down floated off into the blue, but we're just gonna let those slide because we're focused on the on-screen versions. But still, you're an awful person, Willy Wonka. Moving right along, we get to see Veruca's shining moment with the golden geese, where she racks up a jackpot pot of fines. You see all those boxes crashing down on the Oompa Loompas? Well, that's right, OSHA has regulations against stacking boxes too high. In fact, anything stacked over 5 feet has to be secured so it doesn't fall over, like you see right here in this scene. So we get ourselves a strike for every single tall stack that you see in the room. Conservatively, I'm gonna say that's about 13. Then of course we have the famous moment where Veruca stands on the egg decatur and falls down the garbage chute into the furnace.
I want it now!
Yep, that's another handful of safety violations. No guardrails, an open chute down into the furnace, and again, a violation for each egg decatur, so that's at least 4 separate strikes right there. But hey, now we're down to just 2 kids, so how many violations could be left in this movie, right?
That's a lot of hazardous violation. That's bad. That's just horrible.
Oh, so many. Let's start with what happens when you cover people in soap and send them through a car wash. Exposing people to chemicals, including most soaps like dishwashing detergents, is an OSHA violation in the highest amounts. And they're also on a moving vehicle with no seatbelts, so that's a strike for everyone. Also, as a fun side note, these violations actually also happened in real life during the shooting of this very scene where they covered everyone in soap. The entire cast puffed up from all that detergent irritation. It took days of medical treatment for the cast to return to normal and return to set. So yeah, there are actually reasons for all these stupid rules being in place. Go figure. Last up on our tour, we start mixing food violations with electricity. What could possibly go wrong there? Well, even though they do have safety equipment and no exposure to chemicals, unfortunately Wonka's still getting himself an infraction for violating the occupational exposure to hazardous chemicals in laboratory standard. Reference 29 CFR 1910.1450, which specifically covers labs where this sort of research and development takes place. Allowing a small boy to be able to operate a massive ray gun with no safety protocol in place, that's a strike. And seriously, Wonka,
No.
Guard rails are gonna go a long way here. So are we done with this death trap yet? Almost. Even though our tour of the factory ends, we get one more bonus strike thrown in for good measure with our visit to the Great Glass Elevator.
It's an elevator. It's a Wonkavator.
Which has nothing to stop it from crashing straight through the glass roof of the factory.
But this roof is made of glass. It'll shatter in 1,000 pieces. We'll be cut to ribbons.
So let's just slap on an extra violation, or 3, for everyone in that elevator.
Wonkavator.
And with that, our grand total comes to 60 OSHA violations. And that's just what you can see in the movie. 60 is very conservative. Now, like I
Very minimum.
said at the beginning of this episode, Wonka better be selling the heck out of those chocolate bars, because every one of those violations comes with a fine. But now, of course, we come to the real question. How much are those fines gonna cost? Well, according to OSHA, quote, any employer who willfully or repeatedly violates the requirements of this act may be assessed a civil penalty of not more than $70,000 for each violation, but not less than $5,000 for each willful violation, end quote. And it's important to mention that these are the guidelines from 1971 when the original Wonka movie came out and was set. In today's numbers, that's about $31,000 to $436,000 per individual violation. At lowest, Wonka is looking at a $1.86 million price tag, and at highest, he's shelling out a whopping $26.1 million in today's dollars.
Literally multi-million dollars.
Again, just from the 60 OSHA violations that we see in the 6, 7, 8 rooms that he tours us through. Now, obviously a range of $5,000 to $70,000 is huge. What determines which end of the spectrum you fall on is your past history and whether it seems like you as a business owner just made a mistake or whether you really don't care about the safety of your workplace.
It's just, which one? Is it careless negligence or purposeful negligence? Which one is it?
So would OSHA have pity on Willy Wonka?
No.
The short answer is definitely not. They factor in things like the seriousness of the violation, which in our case includes violations like child-sized pipes to a boiler room in the furnace, as well as exposing children and workers to chemicals that turn them into blueberries. Also, a small business is likely to get off the hook much easier than a multinational chocolate mega factory. So
yes, multinational mega factory.
Wonka has no case to plead here because he ships to literally every continent. We see it in the golden ticket coverage. And when it comes to showing a good faith effort to keep things safe, well, let's just say that Wonka has a bad track record there too. He's not even good at pretending.
Stop, don't come back. Help.
Police. Murder.
In conclusion, Mr. Wonka, we film theorist OSHA investigators find you guilty on every count. And let's face it, probably dozens more that we don't see in your 90-minute movie. You, sir, are looking squarely in the eye of that $26.1 million fine, or $4.2 million in 1971 terms.
And put you behind a cell, because you are a horrible person.
And if you all watching at home right now think that's bad, I'm not even done. You see, the thing about safety inspectors is that they don't just show up once, fine you, and then leave. When you get fined, you're also given an order to fix whatever issues the inspector discovered. When the inspector returns, if they find that you still haven't fixed the problems, then you get fined again. This is called the failure to abate, and that results in its own fine. You pay the same fines again for every single day that your factory wasn't in compliance. So 4.2 million inflation-adjusted dollars isn't just a one-time fee, it's how much Mr. Wonka would be paying per day for as long as all those issues go unfixed. That's 182 million inflation-adjusted dollars per week, and $9.5 billion for a year of non-compliance. For comparison, Hershey's current revenues are about $7.421 billion per year, which would put Willy Wonka's factory in complete bankruptcy in a matter of months. But, and here's the biggest but of them all, my friends, this is no surprise to Willy Wonka. No, in fact, he knows about all these violations better than anyone. You see, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, the legislation that created OSHA in the first place, was passed in 1970. It took effect in 1971, the exact same year that Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory is set and the year that it hit theaters. With the establishment of OSHA laws in 1970, Willy Wonka realized pretty fast that his factory wasn't long for this world given the way he runs it and how dangerous it is to everyone inside. So Wonka's decision to open his factory to 5 lucky children, a decision that seems to come out of nowhere in the movie.
Willy Wonka's opening his factory. He's gonna let people in.
No way! Don't tell me that he purposely want to sabotage. No.
You sure? Isn't actually motivated by a desire to do good or even pass his love of chocolate and candy making secrets on like a legacy. No, it's to offload this dumpster fire of a business onto one poor, vulnerable, unsuspecting child before Wonka himself is hit with all these fines.
I had to find a child.
Charlie, who comes out of destitution and thinks he's hit the lottery with his golden ticket, believes he's inheriting Wonka's fortune. But the truth is that he's actually inheriting Willy Wonka's massive legal trouble and billions of dollars of debt.
A literal living nightmare. What the? That's horrible.
He's not the most pure of heart or the nicest or whatever. He's just the biggest chump and the child in the most desperate situation that Wonka can prey on to escape OSHA and a lifetime of corporate debt. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And I know that it's a little disappointing that all our candy-coated dreams have been destroyed by this episode, but if you're looking for a much sweeter deal than just 5 golden tickets, well then check out our partner for today's episode, Dollar Shave Club. Yes, I already use the razors. You've heard me talk about them and you already know that those things are great. But those aren't gonna keep your body from stinking up the great glass elevator, or they're not gonna get your mouth clean after eating one too many scrumdiddlyumptious bars. And that's why Dollar Shave Club is no longer just the Shave Club. They've expanded to everything from toothpaste to hairstyling products. So you know that you're gonna be looking and feeling your best, whether you're being blown up like a blueberry or sucked away to a boiler room. They should rebrand themselves as the Dollar Look Good Feel Good Club. Anyway, just imagine if these children had used one of their great products. If Augustus had just used that smooth as silk shaving butter, then shoom! He's not getting stuck in that pipe. He's shooting through that thing like a rocket. Buttery smooth like a baby's bottom. And tell you what, Veruca's gonna have herself a mess down below after her brush with a boiler room of death. Well, she can take care of that mess in one wipe with the Dollar Shave Club One Wipe Charlie Butt Wipes. And here's the best part, you don't need to be a spoiled rich kid to afford it. So don't be a Veruca, join the club for only $5 at dollarshaveClub.com/filmtheory. FILMTHEORY. Or, just save yourself the trouble and click the link in the top line of the description. New members are getting their first month of the Daily Essentials Starter Kit for only $5. $10. So you can try out a lot of the new products that I just mentioned, see how cool they are, and decide which ones are the ones that you want to keep showing up conveniently at your door every month. If only everything in life were that sweet. Remember, that's dollarshaveclub.com/film theory. Click the link below and you've got yourself a golden ticket to personal hygiene. Click it now.
Well, that's that. Thank you so much for watching this video together with me. I know that this video is very long, but well, sincerely appreciate all of your support for encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. I hope that you find this video you learn a lot. It's quite unique and special. And yeah, if you do like this video, please remember to like, share and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have anything to share with us. Don't forget to follow my channel and sincerely appreciate all of the support and encouragement for my work. Thank you so much. It's very motivating and uplifting with all the positivity and wholesomeness. And I hope to see you in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory and cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye bye! Once again, please do remember to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much. Thank you. Right, 3 hours plus, that's a long video. I rated 9 videos here. Sorry, don't be fooled beyond.
Thought to those is that and live visual stimulus.
Alright. Hello everyone, and today interestingly. Interestingly. Actually, if interesting is words. Well, anyways, I'm gonna end my live stream right now. Thank you all so much for coming over. But hey, that's just a live stream. One more time. Well, thank you all so much for coming over to my live stream. I'm going to take a break right now. Right now it's 1:49 PM. I'm going to take a small break, then maybe come back at around 2 PM plus. I want to rest up and have my lunch, late lunch. And I hope to see you all later in my live stream. But hey, that's just a live stream. One time. But hey, that's just a stream. A live stream. Thanks for watching. Thank you. And I hope to see you all in my next video, in my next live stream.